Bookie Beatdown coming at you. Paul and Cody, UFC 329. The Mac is back. Certain circles of the internet, they'll say that they don't think he's going to fight on the Saturday. Slip into my DMs at Paul Shag. Actually, my DMs are locked, but if you want to give me even money on that, like one thing you can criticize Conor McGregor, but it's like when fight week drops, he's fought through injuries and stuff. It's just like he's here to collect his check. He's never pulled out on a fight week type of situation. So I fully expect this fight to happen on Saturday. Cody, how you doing?
Yeah, I expect this fight to happen on Saturday too. It's like high stakes for Conor McGregor. One, it's his highly anticipated return, and if he pulls out, then people will lose confidence, and then they'll never really trust another fight being announced because of all the charades that have happened in the past. So, like, I get it. This is a highly anticipated one. It's a good one, and for Conor, it's like it helps build his brand. The fact that it's fight week, he's gonna show up. Why is he being like low key? Why is he not that boisterous Conor McGregor that's talking smack? Why is he not doing all these interviews? Why is he not being featured in UFC Embedded? Because it's a really important fight to him. He really needs to win this. If he loses, then it's Conor McGregor's not won a fight in over 7 years. Like the interest just becomes lower and lower. Yeah, he could fight on Netflix against Mike Tyson or Jake Paul. Like that stuff's always on the table. But in terms of being like a real prize fighter that people take seriously, this is a very critical matchup that he needs to win. And so I think he's just taking it seriously, maybe cutting down on the media, try to stay focused, try to focus on it's at 170, so I don't think weight cut's a huge thing, but he's a little bit older and he's partied quite a bit. Maybe the weight cut is a bit of a thing. Who knows? But I'm expecting this fight to happen and I'm super excited for it.
Yeah, there's so many factors. And there's so many factors I think when we break down this fight, which obviously we have Max Holloway as a minus 210 favorite to come back on McGregor currently plus 180. So many of these factors. I mean, Conor hasn't fought in 5 years. Last time we saw him, absolutely brutal leg injury. As bad as it gets, then he's got personal issues and probably drug issues. There's so many things outside of the fight itself, the nuts and bolts. Obviously, this is a rematch from like way, way back, and Conor basically just spammed takedowns, controlled them. We haven't seen Conor do that all that much. I suppose it's on the table considering what Charles Oliveira was able to do to Max Holloway. Do I expect Conor McGregor to come out and spam takedowns in a fight like this, though? Probably not. But yeah, I mean, the one thing that we always say on this show is, Father Time is undefeated. We got Max Holloway, who's been in there fighting some of the best guys in the in multiple divisions at this point. He's taken his L's. He's gotten huge wins. One of them, obviously, being against Justin Gaethje, who's the current lightweight champion. I know the market. This is so typical of a McGregor fight week too. Is like I've kept saying it in the in the Bookie Beatdown Discord and everything. I'm like, Conor McGregor markets are never rational, right? It's like we had like minus 300 on Floyd Mayweather in a boxing match against Conor McGregor. It's never rational. So I wouldn't be surprised if this gets down to like minus 150 Max Holloway by the time the fight goes off on Saturday. That's just literally like the amount of attention and money that piles in. People love McGregor. People love betting on McGregor. I won't be betting on McGregor. I actually have Max Holloway in one part. Like, just get my toe wet just in case the market doesn't continue to go down. But I think volume, just activity. I know people are going to talk about size and all of that, but one guy's been active. The other guy's been, fighting off lawsuits and drug addiction and all these other things. So many distractions for Conor McGregor that I find it hard to not side with Max Holloway. Like, I'll believe it when I see it with McGregor, but as it stands right now, like, I'm not buying this comeback. What about you?
Yeah, well, that's ultimately what it comes down to. The cool thing about Conor, the interesting thing about Conor, is you can match him up in theory against all of these guys. And in theory, he could still beat any of them. He's Conor McGregor. At one time, he was the best to do it at 45. Didn't really defend there, but goes up to 55. But it's just those fights, his best days, it's 10 years ago. The run where he knocks out Eddie Alvarez, he's basically the Matrix. He knocks out Jose Aldo. Like all of his contemporaries from that era, they're all retired. Max is still around because he's 3 years younger than him and was just a baby when they fought. But the Marcus Brimmages and the Akira Corasanis, and actually Diego Brandau's still kicking in, if you can believe that.
Yeah.
Point being is that like his best days are very much 10 years ago. Since then, it's like he generated this giant name, this giant reputation. The skills are still there, but the durability's not, the grit's not, the tenacity, the heart, the willing to hit to get hit. You remember when you used to cut to 145? It's like he's Skeletor and he gets on there and he's just the amount of dedication and hard work that it would take for him to get to 145. And then all of a sudden he's made some money and he can go to 155 and he wins a title there as well. And then everything since then, he loses to Nate Diaz, they run it back, wins the rematch. But I mean, it's a majority decision. He didn't really look good. Sorry, I would say that since those sets of fights, he gets the Floyd Mayweather boxing match, like you're mentioning. And I remember that was a fight that he's less than 3-1. Floyd Mayweather is a favorite. My dad had called me up. He's like, a buddy of mine wants to do $1,000 bet straight up. It's 50. He doesn't care who the favorite is. He wants Conor McGregor. Should I do it? It's like, should you do it? Take Floyd Mayweather all day long. So he loses and Floyd toys with him. People will say, oh man, he made it to the 10th round. No, Floyd bet on 10th round TKO. And so Floyd carried him for 9.5 rounds and then put him away. That aside, his very next fight, he fights Khabib Nurmagomedov. He's just wasted a year of his time boxing. Now he's fighting Khabib. McGregor was only a plus 180, plus 160 underdog. Mm-hmm. Then his rematch with Dustin Poirier, because he had previously beaten him. The rematch with Poirier, he's a minus 300 favorite. Gets beat up, gets knocked out. They run the fight right back, and it was an even money fight. What do you mean? I literally just watched him get beat up by Dustin Poirier. And you mean to tell me that this is still an even? And what do you mean he's less than a 2-1 betting underdog against Khabib Nurmagomedov? And what do you mean he's against Floyd Mayweather? Like it's that's exactly what you're talking about. The market is just really oversaturated for Conor. He's got people sitting in the bars saying, I don't care if he loses. I'm putting $100 on Conor McGregor. And because he's the underdog, it pays more. And it's just a fun wager, right? He transcends the sport. Everybody knows who he is. People want to get a little action in. You'll see these NBA guys. You'll see these high-profile streaming guys, these Aiden Ross losers of the world. They'll be dropping $1 million bets on this fight. Like that's what Conor brings to the table. And he does have a lot of popularity. So you're generally getting these crazy prices. And so I think about this fight, I think the exact same thing. You've broken all this down, but he's not fought in 5 years. So that in itself is something. Second of all, the last time you did see him, he broke his leg. Like, how good was Chris Weidman after he broke his leg?
Takes a lot of what made him great out of the equation. His mobility. Timing beats power, or precision beats power, timing beats speed, right? It's just like, well, when you're not really moving around like you used to, all of the things that made him great, I feel like probably are very likely to not be there anymore. Sorry to cut you off. I just
No, not at all, man. I'm glad you did. I was rambling there, but you're not wrong in any of this. It's like, okay, here's a guy that fought at 145. He moves up to 155. He breaks his leg. He takes 5 years off. Naturally, he gets heavier. How do we cut this weight? How do we get the weight off? How do we improve our cardio for fights? Well, most fighters, old school guys and new school, they're running. They're getting their reps in. You could use an Aerodyne. You could swim in a pool. It's all good cardiovascular exercises. But running is really the only cardiovascular exercise that tests your will the entire time. Your brain is constantly being like, dude, just quit. Let's just walk into that sign, and then we'll start running again after we get that. That's what your brain's constantly doing. If you push through these runs, that's what really gives you that hard aerobic conditioning, and also just tests you. He's not running anymore. He's moving up essentially 145 to 155, 155 to 170. His bones are now carrying more weight. He can do less of those types of exercises. You're not wrong. His mobility is already different than it used to be. His gait is different than it used to be. Buddy of mine, Bojan Klikovic, he broke his leg in a fight like 8 months ago, and he's hobbling around with a cane. Yes, he's still in the recovery period, but his doctors have told him, you'll never fight again. And this is not the type of sporting injury that you just heal back from. You're coming back. You're 37 years old. Conor turns 38 like 4 days after this fight. He's nearly 38 years old. He's not fought in 5 years, but he's not won in 7 years. 6.5. All it comes down to is that he should be like plus 450. He should be a plus 250, a plus 300. But because he has that last name, because he is who he is, the market will never get to that. Max, meanwhile, what? Max is fighting the best guys in the world. Charles, you mentioned, maybe McGregor tries to do what Charles did. I understand he did the first time they fought. And I understand he actually tore his meniscus in that fight, which is why he chose to wrestle. But does anybody expect Conor to... It's a 5-round fight. You think he's really going to go in there with that game plan? I don't think so.
At featherweight 13 years ago.
Right, of course. It's like, okay, and then what else has Max done for me recently? Well, the guy that just whipped Conor twice 5 years ago? Yeah, he beat him. He beat Dustin Poirier. Part of the reason Poirier is trying to fight security guards at the airport now is because of ungodly things that happened to him in that fight, and a lot of his fights, to be honest with you. Shout out to the Diamond. He's one of the real ones. Hopefully he gets it figured out. And then, to Poirier, Justin Gaethje, all I've done the last 5 years is fight the best guys in the sport and beat some of them and competitive against all of them. I'm going to go to that, to fighting a freak show novelty guy with a big name who's not competed in 5, not 1 in 7, went over Donald Cerrone 6.5 years ago. That's the one win. There's no possible way that you would be thinking I'm betting anything other than Max Holloway. Probably Max Holloway by TKO. Probably under... fight doesn't go the distance, but I couldn't. It's Max fight. You never know how many rounds it'll drag on. Now, it's fighting. So what could go wrong? What could go wrong is what you were saying, power versus precision, is that Max leaves a lot of openings. And if Conor's still Conor, he'll slip and rip a left hand down the middle, touch his chin, and maybe put him out. But keep in mind, Max has been knocked out once in his entire career, and it was against Ilia Topuria. And that was 2 fights back now. So because he came back against Charles Oliveira, who also hits sufficiently hard, and I don't really think he's chinny. I don't really think his best days might be behind him, but at 170, even more reason he's not cutting weight. He's probably a little slower than McGregor, but McGregor with the leg injury, he might just be as fast. And he's got a somewhat of a Nate Diaz style where even though the punches are not most impactful, there's a whole bunch of them. Conor doesn't deal good with that kind of pressuring, having to fight consistently off his back foot. So, I got Max Holloway, and he's on the top ticket because you can edge out if you want. But also because he's really good value. I think he wins. And I think he's going to get this job done for us.
Yep. So, there's probably some angry people in the comments. The McNut huggers. We haven't seen them in like 5 years. But typically over the course of us doing this show, forgot how long have we been doing? I always have to ask you. I'm the old man here.
12 years, yeah. April 2024, 2014, sorry.
Over 12 years of doing this show, they've been a constant flow. So I'm sorry we're picking against your goat. Maybe we'll get you a better price on McGregor, but
Paul used to have McGregor as his goat too. He had the shirt, he had the hat, he'd wear the sunglasses. He would tell you Conor McGregor is going to do huge things, and he did. But I don't fit the same clothes I wore 10 years ago, and I'm sure Paul doesn't as well. And as such, like anything, Father Time is undefeated. Time. Max is a little bit older himself, but he's just about 4 years younger than Conor. He's been having the recent activity. He's proven he can still fight at an elite level. Cardio is not a problem. Durability has historically not been a problem. He's got the volume. He's every X factor is going his way, other than there's a magical aura, and the guy's got to win over you already once before, so maybe that's playing in your head. And yeah, man, if he slips off to the side and plows you with a left hand down the middle, maybe it doesn't damage. But the last thing I want to throw on there is all of his big knockouts, they're at 145. He hits you at 145, it's a game over. The
Alvarez one was beautiful.
So beautiful. But like
Alvarez was kind of on his way out the door.
On the dot, like everything's landing. It was like Rick Story versus Cowboy Cerrone. I'm hitting you with everything I throw, combination wise. Everything's landing clean. You're gonna go over. He puts him over. The Donald Cerrone fight. Donald Cerrone is a former 145er himself. Had fought at 155, obviously gets the win there. But Nate Diaz is a durable guy, and Dustin Poirier is a durable guy. And when he fought those guys at the higher weight classes, like they're all of a sudden they're taking his shots. Khabib even scored. They didn't rule it a knockdown, but like he touched him with the right hand and put him on his ass. So Yeah, listen, we're on the same page here, but everyone loves this fight because it's a Conor fight. We haven't had a Conor McGregor fight week in 5 years. Like, I'm genuinely excited. And the sport would be better off if Conor McGregor wins. And deep down, a part of me is going to be happy if he wins, but I'm betting money, real money against him. I need him to lose. Sorry, Conor, it's just business. I hope you understand. I will support all your endeavors in bare knuckle boxing. I know you're trying to get out of your contract. You're running a cool promotion over there, fun to watch on Friday nights. But yeah, this is just business. I think Max at a better point of his career.
No, I couldn't agree more. If McGregor wins, I'll lose some money, but it will be the best thing for the sport. Because, yeah, Conor wins this fight, and then it's just like,
you get another one.
Pick of the litter. Who does he want to fight next, really, right? Mm-hmm. Like, he could fight Gaethje for the lightweight belt. That would make sense. Like, there's so many different avenues that this could go in if McGregor gets it done on Saturday. I just won't be putting my wallet behind it. Moving on down, we've got Benoit Saint-Denis taking on Paddy the Batty Pimblett. Benoit is about a -150 favorite to come back on Paddy, plus 132. Who you got here, buddy?
Yeah, so interesting fight because both guys, I think, do have a good path to victory. And certainly early, I feel like Benoit is going to have an easier first round and a half, maybe first 2 rounds. If this was a 5-round fight, whatever happened to having cool co-main events on pay-per-views, 5-round fights? I'd rather see it as a 5-rounder. I'd have Paddy Pimblett all day. In a 3-round fight, it's a lot more interesting because Benoit Saint-Denis could, in theory, win a couple of early rounds with his wrestling. Wrestling is the name of the game in this one. Benoit likes to pursue it. He's physically strong. He's a former French paratrooper. He's 30 years old, right in the prime of his career, and he's very physically strong. Last fight against Dan Hooker, multiple takedown attempts, multiple reversals, gets the takedowns, eventually TKOs him from top position. We know how strong he is. More so, though, the fight with Dustin Poirier. Like, yeah, he had a staph infection, and he was dominating Poirier in the first round. He gets the takedowns when he wants them. And then at that point, I mean, he's got a decent submission game. We saw in the Pimblett fight, beats him up a little bit standing, takes him down, gets the head and arm choke. He can grapple. He can submit you. The win over Mauricio Ruffi by rear naked choke is aging excellently. Mm-hmm. But it's that he kind of seems like a bit of a front runner. His cardio is not bad. When you see him later in fights, he can push it. But he's known for having these staph infections. So he fought Dustin Poirier. He had a staph infection. And he gassed out in the second round, whether because of bad cardio or because of the staph, or I'm fighting a world-class guy and then I got rocked. Who knows? But it was a bad look. The Pimblett fight, though, he also had a staph infection in. And in the second round, although he subs him in the second round, he starts to run on fumes where he's getting tired, smashes him a little bit up against the cage, hits the takedown, hits the submission. And he's happy he submitted him when he did, because you can see he's walking into punches from Pimblett all of a sudden and starting to look a little bit sluggish in there. And so you watch some training footage of him now, some pictures of him now, and it looks like he's got a staph infection on his ankle. Ooh. So yeah, I know. And I was looking at some like World War II stereotypes, and it was saying that the French, that they were known for not bathing and being sluts. So I'm thinking in Benoit Saint-Denis' case, there's a good chance that he doesn't bathe, and there's a small chance that he's a slut. That aside, it's like I think he's actually super physically strong. The first round, I think Benoit does win the first round. Paddy Pimblett, he's got a lot of good qualities to him, but his takedown defense is mad weak. Been taken down by Luigi Vedramini. The Jordan Levitt fight, Jordan Levitt took him down 3 times. These guys have no wrestling. Jared Gordon got 3 takedowns, but a lot of standing cage control time. King Bobby Green took him down. Michael Chandler was a good wrestler 10 years ago. Michael Chandler takes nobody down now. And he got 4 of them. Justin Gaethje had taken 1 of 14 opponents down in the UFC up until the Paddy Pimblett fight. He had never scored more than 1 fight in a single fight ever. Only guy he had ever taken down was Rafael Fiziev, first fight, 1 takedown. That's it. He took him down 3 times on 3 attempts. Like, Benoit's gonna shoot. We know that, and he's probably going to get it. It's, will you accept position? Will you continue to get back up? Will you continue to make him work? If you can do all those things, if you can do those X factors, I think he's going to stiff him at some point. Like what we did see from Paddy Pimblett's last fight against Justin Gaethje, striking is definitely advanced. It's improved a whole lot. He's got a really nice uppercut, and it's like a chopping right hand over the top. He gets you to think these punches are coming over the top. He steps in and he puts that uppercut up the middle. He went 5 rounds with Gaethje. He landed 156. By the numbers, outstruck Justin Gaethje 156 to 144. His heart was tested. He got dropped a couple times. He'd get back up. He's rocked. Gaethje jumps on top of him. He gets back up. showed his heart, showed durability, showed volume, showed way better striking. He's really big for this weight class. So like Benoit typically tries to just out-muscle you and rely on being the more physical guy. But like, Paddy's not the easiest guy to maneuver around. If you take him down, you got to worry about submissions off his back. Like ask Bobby Green, beautiful submission with the triangle. If he's threatening with submissions, if he's scrambling to get back up, when he gets back up, he's touching you up and putting hands on you. I think he's going to win this fight. Benoit wears too much damage. His last fight with Dan Hooker, he arguably lost the first round. He goes like 2 for 7 on takedowns, and he's getting hit. Partial head kick lands, body kick up the middle hurts him to the body, but it's Dan Hooker, so I can continue to take him down, and then I'm going to swarm him. But that Renato Moicano fight, you make one bad decision, this guy ends up on your back. His eye just swells shut. In fact, most of his fights, he wears a lot of damage, whether he's bleeding, whether his eye starts to swell shut. He's one of those guys that if these rounds are close and he's all busted up, they're going to give it to the other guy. Paddy wears damage well. Paddy's capable of dishing it out. Paddy's going to be scrambling. I think Paddy keeps this competitive enough. So I am taking the underdog shot straight up, but I think after the first round, I'm going to get an even better price. And I would be more interested in jumping in after one round. Just like Dustin Poirier lost that first round. Maybe he gets those takedowns. Maybe he has some control time. The second and the third, he's going to start to tire. Not that he's got a bad gas tank, but Benoit Saint-Denis is pedal to the metal. He's all gas, no brakes. He goes hard. And if Paddy can match that, there's only a 3-round fight. Paddy just fought 5 against Justin Gaethje. If he can match that intensity, he's going to tire him out. When he tires him out, he's going to catch him. So I don't usually bet on Paddy Pimblett. Let's be real here. But I loaded up on Gaethje that last time out. Plus money. Gaethje's going to fight for your dollar. The first 2 rounds, certainly the first round, I am laughing at the people that bet Paddy Pimblett. The rest of the fight was a dogfight ball. Yeah. This guy really proved to me that he's more than just some popular guy. He's a Scousers don't get knocked out. Oh, I kind of believe him. Although, if you watch BKFC, Scousers do, in fact, sometimes get knocked out. But in his case, Darren Till's case, yeah, they're not wrong, man. These guys can take one hell of a shot. Proved to me a lot in defeat that I am actually looking to back him moving forward, and I think this is a good winnable spot for him. He's an underdog. I think I get better value after the first round. But is it going to be close, especially early? Yes. Is it going to be competitive? I expect so. But give me Paddy the Batty, and kind of feeling like a 3rd-round finish is on the table as well.
Yeah. Yeah, no, like when Paddy first broke into the UFC, I faded him 3 times in a row. And there were spots that like I didn't feel completely dumb in the process. Lost all of them. But like he was a massive favorite. But like Vendramini like rocked him pretty bad. Rodrigo
Vargas took him down. Or he had Vargas, him down.
Yeah. And the first time I had ever put money on him was after he was probably down 2 rounds against Jared Gordon. But like I was just like, something smells like, you know, a call may be made so it's like I took Paddy Pimblett after round 2 against Gordon because I just smelled the fix potentially being in. But yeah, I mean, I even heard in an interview that like Paddy did this week that he's just like, he said, like, I'm paraphrasing, but like that he's getting more credit for a loss than like all of the stuff he had done in the winning streak leading up to it. And I think it's very, very fair because I mean, it looks even better now that Gaethje has the title, but super, super tough, super durable. Obviously, Gaethje was landing absolute hammers. Like, there's no question of who won the fight. It was 3-2 Gaethje on the best card that Paddy got on that night. But like, he showed how tough he is, everything like that. Paddy is the side from a betting perspective. I also took the over 2.5. And I know that like Benoit Saint-Denis, so many of his fights get finished. And if Paddy gets on top, like Moicano, the problem is Paddy doesn't have great offensive wrestling. But if he gets on top and starts raining ground and pound, like
Moicano doesn't have offensive wrestling either.
No, exactly.
Just got to slip and land on his back.
I understand that, like the risk in taking the over 2.5, but it's significant plus money depending on where you're shopping right now. I took the tippy top. I was lucky enough to get the tippy top. Who knows where it will close, but best price I see right now is like plus 150 for over 2.5 rounds between the two of them. And as you said, Scousers don't get knocked out. So if somebody gets the finish, I feel like the person getting the finish is probably going to be Paddy, and it'd probably be a round 2 or 3 finish. But yeah, I'm on the over, and I've got Paddy in the mix already this week, and we'll see where the markets go from here. Moving on down to the next fight, we have Cory Sandhagen taking on Mario Bautista. It's a rematch for those who don't know. Sandhagen submitted Bautista early on, 2019, in Bautista's career. Another one of those rematches that just like both of these guys have changed so much since then that you probably just throw it out. Where are you at with this great bantamweight matchup, Coach?
Yeah, great bantamweight matchup. I got Cory Sandhagen to win the rematch. Not in any type of fashion similar to the first one where he just got taken down and grabbed the armbar, but Cory Sandhagen's worked a lot on his defensive wrestling, and I know it doesn't look like it because he gets taken down every fight. And that last fight with Merab Dvalishvili, he got taken down 20 times on 37 attempts. But his scrambling ability is really good. And what you'll see is these guys take him down, but they struggle mightily to hold him down. We all know how good his striking is. He's a Dwayne Bang Ludwig guy, moves well, excellent footwork, very quirky, unorthodox at times, high volume, has legitimate power, has a submission game. I've always considered Cory Sandhagen to be a top 5 guy in the division because he very much has skills. What prevents him from beating the Aljamain Sterlings or from beating the Merab Dvalishvilis or the Umar Nurmagomedovs is that, yeah, you can be elite at one thing, but it's very, very difficult to get elite at 2 things. And the other thing that you are not elite at is the thing that's required to win at the highest level, which is that wrestling. But what I will give him credit for is that Umar Nurmagomedov fight. He got taken down. It's a 25-minute fight. He got taken down 5 times on 13 attempts. And he only gave up a little over 5 minutes of control time, over 25 minutes. Every time he gets taken down, he immediately knows exactly what he's going to do. Sequence A, B, C, get back up. I'm going to get high in the hips. Don't let him secure anything. Stand back up. It's actually impressive. When he fought Davidson Figueiredo, Davidson took him down twice on 5 attempts. Davidson had 31 seconds of control time. As soon as he'd hit the deck, he'd pop right back up. Merab took him down 20 times, man. But of those 20 times, he had 10 minutes of control time, over 25 minutes. So every takedown would have yielded, on average, 30 seconds per takedown of control time. Like, Mario's not going to chain wrestle him the way Merab Dvalishvili did. Mario's not going to chain wrestle him the way Umar Nurmagomedov did. He's a lesser wrestler. Well, how do you know he's a lesser wrestler? Okay, let's use a little bit of MMA math. He also fought Umar Nurmagomedov. Only his was only a 15-minute fight. And instead of getting taken down 5 times, he got taken down 11 times on 14 attempts. Sandhagen's wrestling, at least when you watch both of them in that fight, Sandhagen actually looks like he's a better wrestler than Mario Bautista. Bautista, meanwhile, as much as I like him, it's like his fight with Jose Aldo. He went 0 for 8 on takedowns. I understand it's Jose Aldo, but one, it's 38
cage control fest.
Yeah, and it was a 38-year-old Jose Aldo who damn near won the fight. It was a close split decision, and you had to rely on standing cage control because he's a better striker than you. Then the Patchy Mix fight, okay, you exposed Patchy Mix and got a win, and no one's taking that one away from you, but you didn't take him down. You just stood and struggled with him the entire time. And then Umar, he didn't look terrible. He landed a knockdown, just he couldn't prevent the takedowns. Remember how Cory gave up 5 over the course of 25 minutes? He gave up almost 11 minutes of control time in a 15-minute fight and got taken down 11 times. And then a nice win over Vinicius Oliveira, where, again, his wrestling looks good, but Vinicius said he had a really tough weight cut to 135 and wasn't looking to go down anymore and looked lethargic and looked kind of like he was quitting in there at various points. And it's still a quality win. Vinicius is a good guy. Not good. He's very serviceable guy, just below the guys that you would consider world-class. But it's a solid victory all the same. Patchy Mix is kind of in the same boat. It's a solid victory, but maybe not huge. It's just, how does he beat Cory Sandhagen? Well, other than his fight with Patchy Mix, I really don't think he's that big of a volume guy. I feel like Cory Sandhagen is a more polished, refined, better striker. Sandhagen's 34 now, starting to get a little bit old, but Bautista's 33. There's not a giant age difference. There's not a giant athletic difference. There's not a giant speed difference. So I do feel like Sandhagen is just maybe going to be a little slightly but the better striker. And then as far as the grappling exchange is going, if he can keep the fight standing, then he can use his strike and he can win this fight. How does he do that? Stuff the takedowns. And based on how he looked against Murad Dvalishvili and how he looked against Umar Nurmagomedov. And yeah, they're winning the fights and taking him down. His get-up game is really good. If Batista's less than those guys, which I believe he is, then the wrestling's going to be a little harder to come by. If it's harder to come by, more striking exchanges. If there's more striking exchanges, Sandhagen gets his game going and he edges this thing out. So I actually have a lot of respect for Bautista. All of his fights are generally pretty close and competitive. I know he brings it. Just feel like I got enough edges here to go Sandhagen, so he's my pick.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a pretty tough fight to handicap, to be perfectly honest. I can see both guys winning, but I tend to agree with a lot of the things that you said there in terms of the volume, everything like that. I will say that not financial advice, but like Sandhagen by sub is like plus 1100. Sounds like a fun way to lose money to me. Just if history repeats itself, not that I expect it to repeat itself. I think both these guys have improved that aspect of their game so much, but yeah, the just full out decision, hardcore. Like, where am I at with this fight? Like, I'm so torn. I'll pick Sandhagen for the purposes of this show, but more of a fight that I want to get a feel for live and see how it actually plays out. Maybe I'll hop in on something there because bantamweight, so like you look at the bantamweight roster, man, it is so stacked. Like there is
Best
just
division in the
so
sport.
much talent, man. These fights, we say like flyweight fights, they're always close. It's just like bantamweight. I guess you get a little bit more finishes with bantamweight. There's just so much talent. These guys can do everything. Even these guys who have, maybe takedown defense issues against the most elite takedown artists in the division, how that matches up against each other. It's like sometimes it's just hard to know until they're in there with each other. So I'll side with you in terms of Cory Sandhagen by volume, but yeah, great fight. I'm looking forward to. Not so much looking to break the bank on Sandhagen versus Bautista, because I respect how far Mario Bautista has come since that first matchup between the two of them. Brandon Royval takes on Lonier Kavanagh. Brandon Royval plus 185 underdog. Lonier Kavanagh is the minus 220 favorite. Last time out there for Lonier Kavanagh, going up to Mexico City, altitude, everything like that.
5-round fight.
5-round fight. He shocked me, man. So, I mean, maybe it speaks more to where Brandon Moreno is at this point in his career, but I think I significantly underrated, underappreciated. Coming off of that Charles Johnson round 3 finish where like he was gassing, and then you brought him up to altitude. It's a crazy sport. Sometimes you think you have certain angles, everything is lining up perfectly, and it just doesn't, it doesn't come to fruition, or somebody had a bad day, somebody had a bad cut. So many things that are very, very difficult to figure out. Now he's getting all the respect in the world, Cody. Where are you at with this fight?
Well, this one's particularly tough because you've got two guys that are kind of inconsistent. Like on one hand, Brandon Royval can hang with anybody, and when they're hanging a plus 185 price tag on him for this matchup, it's like how do you not like it? He's got cardio for days. He's fought all the best guys in the division, and he's given them all really tough fights. His fight with Josh, well, not so much his last fight. We'll get to that one. But him versus Josh Van, like he outstruck Josh Van. He never even tried to grapple him. He literally just banged it out for 25 straight minutes. Sorry, for 15 straight minutes and landed 215 significant strikes. Crazy. On top of that, he's got a win over Tatsuya Taira, where he out-grappled Tatsuya Taira. What crazy. He can strike with the best guys. He can grapple with the best guys. He's got cardio for days. Up until his last fight with Manel Kape, he had never been knocked out. He did get TKO'd one time versus Moreno where he dislocated his shoulder, but we'll get to that a little bit. Point being is that he's literally checks off all the boxes, but it's flyweight, and he's turning 34 years old next month. And so, yeah, I think when you've got 26 professional fights and you train really, really hard and you fight really, really hard, the damage starts to compound. And in his case, I think it's compounded. He's been knocked down 4 times in the UFC. That includes Kai Kara-France knocked him down, Matt Schnell knocked him down, Josh Van knocked him down. And then, of course, in his last fight with Mel Kopp, who is the heaviest hitter of the division, he did finally get knocked out for the first time. But he also absorbed 204 significant strikes against Josh Van. He went a crazy 5-rounder with Brandon Moreno where he absorbed 112. His rematch with Pantoja for the belt, he went 5 rounds and absorbed 95. These are all really significant strikes, and he's got an open style where he gets hit a lot. So seeing him on a 2-fight losing streak where he got hit well over 200 times, and then the next one he finally gets knocked out, I'm not really trusting his durability. If he can make this an absolute dogfight with Lonier, really push the pace, really try to swarm him with your superior volume and constantly stay in your face, he can really make this very difficult on a 2-1 favorite, which I wouldn't like.
Or he could run into something.
Or he can walk into something. And that's the reason why I'm kind of going Lonier Kavanagh. But why I said they're both inconsistent. Kavanagh fought like my favorite prospect, Antoine Ho, for my favorite not in the UFC prospect, Antoine Ho, on the Contender Series, and iced him. Like, whoa, this guy hits hard. He's got fast hands. He's a legitimate prospect. UFC likes him. Fans love the guy. His debut against Jose Ochoa was really close. It was a really close fight. Turns out Ochoa's pretty good. But it wasn't like he looked overwhelmingly great in that fight. His next one against Felipe dos Santos, he went to decision and got outstruck. Relied on a few takedowns. Did not look good in that fight. The very next one against Charles Johnson, he looked good in the first round. Second round, it's like he just started running on fumes immediately. And that's what makes the Brandon Moreno one so weird. You had not shown to have much cardio. You had not really shown to have much volume. You were kind of in these close fights. And now they're booking you on a short notice fight, which is a 5-rounder for the first time in your career. You're coming off a fight where you couldn't even go 2. Now you're going to go 5. And it's in Mexico City, 1,000 feet above sea level. 10,000 feet above. Is it 10,000 feet, Paul?
I think the actual, depending on like where you are in the city,
it's more than a mile.
7,000. It's at least 7,000 feet, pretty much anywhere. I know Stadio Azteca, where they held like a lot of the footy and stuff, is like 7,300 feet. But yeah, there's parts of Mexico City that are like 10,000 feet. So it's like basically it's the mile high. It's like Denver times 2, which is insane.
It's Denver times. Now with Kavanagh, here's a guy that could, in theory, look awesome in this fight because he's got those skills. But he's also a guy that, in theory, could get swarmed in this fight and gas out. He's kind of shown that as well. He's 7 years younger than Brendan Royval, though. So to me, Royval's at that stage, especially at flyweight, where the regression is coming, the durability is being lessened. Whereas Kavanagh just won a 5-round fight against a former world champion in enemy territory, nearly 10,000 feet in the air. If that version of him shows up here, he's going to have lots of opportunities to get his hands going. And when he touches Royval, if he doesn't knock him out, he will knock him down. If you can knock him down, it pretty much seals the round. Really hard to win a round when you get knocked down in it. So if he mixes it up and does things the proper way, then I think he'll just be able to touch him and hopefully, again, do the bigger blows, the more damage. The judges are hopefully scoring that. Royval, if he comes at you wild and reckless, he'll give you the opportunities. If he doesn't give you that type of approach, it's not really what makes Royval effective. Fighting from the outside is not who he is. So yeah, it's kind of the fact that it's a flyweight fight that Kavanagh had been looking just okay. Then he wins one fight. If Moreno was just on an off night, if Moreno's done, that one okay win now propels you to being a minus 220 favorite over a proven title challenger. Yeah, man. How many guys have given Josh Van a competitive fight? Like this guy did. He's of a world-class ilk. It's really hard to gauge what version of him is going to show up, right? And yeah, it's like Alex Perez at flyweight, right? It's like when this guy is on, he is on. But then the other half of the time, like 60% of the time, really not on at all. So, betting it is becoming increasingly difficult. But for the purposes of the show, I got to take somebody one way or another. I feel like the 7 years younger from Kavanagh, the meaningful victories coming off of the fact that I do rock with his striking and think he's got legitimate power. It's enough for me to give him the nod. I'll take him, but it's low down this week.
Yeah, I'm going to have Lonier Kavanagh by KO in the mix for me this week. How how much. I'm not entirely sure yet. But if this fight turns into a tit for tat volume flyweight fight, it's like I don't know if I really want to be overly invested in Kavanagh by decision. You know what I mean? Brandon Moreno, for all the faults he has in that fight, Brandon Moreno is insanely durable, right? So if Lonier wins by decision, so be it. I don't win a bet on Lonier Kavanagh this week, but it's like plus 240 for Lonier Kavanagh by KO. That's the path of, I suppose, least resistance. If this fight goes, to decision, and they both put up 100 significant strikes, and Royval puts up 130, and Kavanagh puts up 90, and then it becomes power and substance versus volume and pace. It's not a situation I really want to be in at minus 220. So Kavanagh by KO. I'll have some, but it's not gonna ruin my week. Moving on down to maybe a play that could ruin my week if I let it ruin my week, because I've never not bet it. I like it, but I like it a little bit less. Obviously, we have Terrance McKinney taking on King Bobby Green. King Bobby Green has his own shorts. I don't know if there's some sort of I know that they gave him to Curtis Campbell, and that didn't go well. That was the first time Scousers really did get knocked out in the UFC. But good for Bobby Green. He's on a nice
debut shorts, though, okay? You didn't earn them. Alex Pereira had to kill a bunch of guys. Bryce Mitchell had to say some crazy shit. Normally you got to earn them shorts, but he just, they're like, oh, sure, here you go. You can wear pink. And then he proceeded to get iced. But yeah, go on. I'm into the theory.
That's really all I have to say about that theory. But I mean, it's a McKinney fight week, right? It's just like if anybody's been listening, it's like I've even had people in the Bookie Beatdown Discord, pointing me towards it this week, and just like, trust me, I've been watching it like a hawk. I don't know the historical data on what these under 1.5s have been priced on McKinney, but it feels like every single fight the price is getting worse. Like the cat is out of the bag at this point. I expect this fight to go over under 1.5 rounds. Don't get me wrong, it's Terrance McKinney fight, and Bobby Green has some durability issues on his own, but he also, carries some power, and he's got some grappling chops at this point. It all comes down to Terrance McKinney, what he does when he kind of comes out. And with McKinney, it's just like he comes with a level of fury that on his best night, he can probably take out anybody in that first 3 minutes. It's what happens after those 3 minutes to him that, is why we love. And I suppose if you bet on McKinney, why you hate him. But because it's a McKinney fight, I'm going to say Bobby Green plus 110 because it really feels like a coin flip, and you're giving me plus money on a coin flip. But I'll have money on the under 1.5 again. It's just I feel like other weeks I've gotten minus 250, minus 300. It's just like this number just kind of keeps creeping up. I was saying before we got on the show to you that last card there was Fiziev versus Torres. Fight doesn't go to decision, minus 500. Just like, okay, well, Torres hasn't been out of the first round in the UFC. He's been out of the first round once in his entire MMA career, and we're supposed to expect this guy to go 5 rounds in Baku. So that was a free parlay leg. Could Bobby Green shoulder roll, stay on the outside, completely evade situations, and somehow drag this over? Maybe. So I'm gonna be on the under, but for whatever reason, I don't know. I'm less excited about it this week. But yeah, Bobby Green's the pick for me. How are you approaching this fight?
Yeah, well, I understand with Bobby Green, it's he does have power, but a lot of the time it's he's not sitting down on his punches. He's, doing the shoulder roll. He's got the Philly shell. He's baiting you. He hits you with a good combination. He puts that pressure on you. Eventually the knockout does open up. But when you're chasing an under 1.5, it's you need him to come out reckless. And although his hands next to his, he's basically got his hands in his pockets coming at you, that's reckless. But he's got head movement. Although at 39 years old, I feel like his reflexes and his timing are going to start to slow down. Once it starts to slow down, he's going to get caught. And then speaking of getting caught, he's already been finished 5 times in the UFC in the very first round. Like Mauricio Ruffy knocked him out in the first round. Paddy Pimblett submitted him in the first round. Jalen Turner ended his life, man. Woof, in the first round. Islam Makhachev ground and pounded him in the first round. Justin Poirier knocked him in the first round once upon a time when they had fought. So Terrance McKinney's style of just berserk rage mode, come at you really hot and heavy early, it could be effective here, given that Bobby's 39 years old. Bobby does have a history of being finished in the first round if you come at him hot before he really gets that rhythm and that pace kind of set in. On the flip side to that, Bobby's got more than enough power to knock out Terrance McKinney. And also, low key, what's the best price on the submission prop for Bobby Green? Because Terrance tends to he'll get look at that 2 fights ago with Chris Duncan. He gets rocked and then he gives him the choke because he's done with this fight. It's already gone more than 2 minutes. I'm not liking it. Estevan Ribovics is it's a partially blocked head kick, and then there goes his legs 37 seconds into the first round.
I would 600 plus 700, maybe plus 800 somewhere. I can't scroll over that far.
Yeah, I mean, I would say it's on the table. It's on the table because, one, you look at the Chris Duncan fight, he gives him the anaconda. Two, if you're into watching those ADX grappling matches, he grappled Sidney Outlaw, and Sidney Outlaw was it was like a face crank. He just basically, this thing is not under the chin, and he taps in a minute 30. So although he's one hell of an offensive submission artist and knockout artist, he's a total glass cannon. He can dish it out. Can't exactly take it. And then with Bobby Green, no one thinks of him as a submission guy, but one, he just cashed the submission prop in his last fight against Jeremy Stephens, and everyone was talking about, hey, is there not a chance that maybe he'll try to submit him? And he did, because he's 39, and he's got a strip cleared, and he's got some businesses, and he ain't going to get punched up in that. He's a 50-fight vet. Path of least resistance is maybe get my submission game going. Scored in that one, but also think back when he fought Tony Ferguson. It's a nice submission in that fight as well. He's been around the game so long. He's acquired the 50 fights. He has the experience. His submission game's low-key not bad. And I think against Terrance McKinney, it's if I just hurt this guy, if I touch him with a shot, could be the jab, could be the right hand. If I can just touch this guy, cause him to knock down and jump on top, he's got a whole lot of quit in him. And he might not want to get thumped by 30, 40 ground and pound shots. He might roll over and give up his neck. And at that point, you snatch it up. If you're telling me 800 exists on it, that would be tremendous. Even at plus 600, still really good value considering it's a viable path here. Point being is, anytime Terrance McKinney fights, it has to be considered 50-50. And there's plus money on Bobby Green in a fight that I consider 50-50. So I am taking Bobby Green to either take the initial onslaught or, because his hands are so goddamn low, it's possible that Terrance shoots and you can just stiff him with an uppercut or something like he did against Grant Dawson. Not that that was an uppercut, but I know the guy's going to shoot. I'm going to time him stepping in and touch him. And then it's all on the table. So King Bobby, or as I call him, King Robert the Magnificent. He's been around the game a long time. He's a fan favorite. Everybody likes him. Be nice to see him win here. And it'd be nice to win some money on him getting a win here. So that's where I'm at.
Yeah. And like any Terrance McKinney fight, making a pick on it, it's just you either look like a genius or a moron. There is, there's certain fights where he's fought lower level guys that couldn't put the Brandon Marats of the world, but it's just he was massive. Yeah, it's just he's a massive favorite in those fights, right? It's just but when he fights guys of his caliber, of his level of ability, it's just you either look like a genius or a moron. There is no middle ground. He either absolutely kills you, or the guy gets or his opponent gets through that swarm, and yeah, even it's one of those things too. It's just it would be easy to be I'm going to bet Bobby Green live, and it's just you may not have an opportunity, or you may not have the courage to click it if you do have the opportunity, right? Because it's just the onslaught is just so crazy that it's just okay, well, he got knocked down twice. He's on wobbly legs. Terrance maybe is getting a little bit tired, but it's are you going to actually click that button at that moment? Easier said than done. Easier said than done.
The only part of it that I don't love is that they're former training partners. And so think about training with Bobby Green. All that shoulder shuffle, all that Philly shell, he'd be showing you all of that in training.
Yep.
Think about training with Terrance McKinney. He does not doesn't train the way he fights.
No.
He'd be an absolute liability to any gym that would have him.
Yeah, nobody
So,
trains him.
so Terrance has felt Bobby. Bobby's not really felt Terrance. Terrance asked for this fight. Bobby's upset. Terrance is 8 years younger. There is a lot of things going in Terrance McKinney's way. But if someone told me, do you think Terrance McKinney's got the heart of a lion? It's like, no, I think he's an athletic specimen with really good potent power and he's a submission threat early on, but like, heart's maybe the one thing he's lacking. Bobby's got a weird ass quirky style that he's made work for him for 50 fights because he does have heart, and he's pissed off, and that it's all good for the under 1.5 ball Shaughnessy. So yeah, Terrance either blows him out of the water and you look like an absolute genius, or Terrance has a hot start and blows it, and you look like a fool for betting him as a favorite. It's close to near even, but still, plus money on Bobby. That's where I got.
And the winner of it, the people with the winning side of it, take your victory lap because you look like a genius, as always.
Bobby owns his own strip club. Even if he loses, he still wins. So
got his own
God
shorts,
bless King
lots
Robert.
of fights. I've always been a Bobby Green fan. I hate some of his nonsense of like not engaging all that much. The most recent run, he hasn't been doing all that much. He's not going to have too much opportunity to do that type of stuff against someone like Terrance McKinney, but we will find out on Saturday. Moving on down. This one's a real strange one. We got Robert the Reaper Whittaker taking on Nikita Krylov. Money has been piling in on Krylov. And why is that? It's like, this fight's at 205 pounds. We are old enough. We were doing this show long enough that like Robert Whittaker used to be a 170 pounder. Obviously had a huge, awesome run at 185 pounds, becoming the champion. But I did see him on Embedded, and actually, frankly, it didn't clue in for whatever reason. I wasn't immediately thinking when I saw these two guys matched up. Wasn't thinking like this is at 205. I should have, but like once I saw Rob and I saw him on Embedded with all of his family in Vegas. They rented a house and he's got his whole family here for International Fight Week. I was like, he's a little chunky. And then I was like, oh, it's a 205. He's 38 years old, end of the line. We sniffed it out when he took on. I sniffed it out. I don't know if you were.
Oh yeah. I was on for the Liskarov.
Yeah, we sniffed it. We sniffed it out for the Aliskarov fight. I think in theory he wins this fight, but 205. I don't love it for the Reaper. He's giving up a lot of length, giving up a lot of reach. Krylov's a bit of a goof, but he's a big guy who's got some pretty crazy kicking techniques. Chin has always been questionable. Is Robert's power going to translate up another 20 pounds? God, I am as the market continues to crash, I am tempted to take Whittaker here, but that move we've talked about on this show for so many years. That move from 185 to 205, those 20 pounds, it's just like you are in a different human body frame category making that move up. I'm going to say Whittaker because I've never really been a Nikita the Minor / Nikita the Al Capone believer, but I don't love it. I'm very, very hesitant. What about you?
Yeah, well, you're not wrong. Like, historically, the great 85ers, whether it be, remember Luke Rockhold moved up to 205, fought Jan Blachowicz? What a bad idea that was. Remember Chris Weidman moved up to 205? Fought Dominic Reyes? Not a good move. You're not wrong. It's like the 20 pounds is big. All these guys do it later in their career. Robert being a 38-year-old former 170. And you're right, Paul. We've been doing this show so long. We remember when Robert Reaper, when he's making his debut. And he was 170 pounds. We also remember Nikita Krylov when he was being called Al Capone and fought a heavyweight. So, yeah, this is a large man that has since come down to 205 versus still a large man, but it's a guy that used to make 170, then fought on 185. I hope that everything's good in Robert Whittaker's life, but he does, when you see interviews of him now as opposed to prior in the past, he sounds different. He's a little more punchy, I think. Some of these fights, they've just taken their tolls on him. I don't think people will ever really understand those fights with Yoel Romero, both of them. Both of them, he took an absolute thrashing where his legs are gone. Yoel dropped him twice in the second fight.
Yep.
He follows that up. 25-minute wars. He fought Yoel Romero twice for 25 minutes. 50 minutes of concussive blows. Very next fight against Israel Adesanya, he got knocked out. His fight with Israel Adesanya is the rematch. He loses a unanimous decision, but gives up the knockdown. His fight with Dricus, he gets knocked out. It's all piling on. So now you're chasing something that's maybe just not there anymore. You move up the weight class. The punches from your opponent are even going to be bigger now. None of that bodes well. I agree. But stupid me, it did actually take him. You got to realize is that his last opponent, Rener de Ridder, and yeah, I did sniff out that Aliskerov one, but I gave some of that money back in his last one against Ridder.
That performance was so bad.
He almost won it. He almost won it, but he couldn't stop the grappling. His striking was looking fine. Wow, he kept walking into a step-in knees up the middle. But outside of those step-in knees, the striking looked fine. It's that he could not stop the takedowns. And then he scored a knockdown. He gassed. It was like, oh, man, this dude's tired. But that's a 5-round fight. This is only a 3. And if you're comparing a 6'3" Nikita Krylov, Rener de Ridder is 6'4". And Rener de Ridder's on his way back up now to 205.
And fought at 205 and won championship before.
Exactly. So Renner's already a 205er, and he fought him for 5 rounds to a split decision that I thought he won, but the cage control, I get it, close. But prior to that, he fought Khamzat Chimaev, who's just announced that he's apparently going up to 205. And he's got a win over Paulo Costa, who currently fights, doesn't look out of place one bit, at 205. Those fights at Yoel Romero, he's been fighting light heavyweights for the last 5-6 fights.
Fair.
And so this move against Krylov, it's like, yeah, Krylov's 6'3", but Rener was 6'4", and Paulo Costa's 6'1", and Chimaev's 6'2". Like, I think that's all relative. Whereas Rener de Ridder is going to try to take you down, and Khamzat Chimaev is going to try to take you down. Nikita might try to take you down, but I wouldn't say he's as staple of a wrestler as some of those other guys. He's not Dricus du Plessis level of wrestling as much as he's can wrestle a bit. And then it's what I mentioned earlier about Terrance McKinney and heart. I just feel like Krylov kind of lacks the heart. You know, more like probably more specifically the Dominic Reyes fight, where he just he flies into a counter shot and then done, flops over. And then his next one against Bogdan Guskov, kind of the same thing. Once the pressure gets turned up on him, he's kind of looking for a way out. He didn't look bad his last fight against Modestas Bukauskas. I tried to fade him, didn't work. He looked okay there. But Modestas is, what's the line from The Replacements? You're not even a has-been, you never was. Well, that's Modestas. It's difficult to say that Modestas Bukauskas brings the same things to the table that former decorated world champion like Robert Whittaker does. Whittaker's been fighting big guys, and if this matchup was Krylov versus Paulo Costa, or Krylov versus Rener de Ridder, or him versus Khamzat Chimaev, do we believe that Krylov wins any of those fights? I don't. I think he's another one of these guys I classify as a glass cannon. If he's able to just knock out Robert Whittaker right away, yeah, it's 205. Maybe this wasn't the spot for you, Robbie. Robbie can kind of mitigate some of that damage early, navigate the treacherous waters, find those openings. Krylov's wild and reckless. He leaves openings. You know, a smooth operator like Robert Whittaker will find them, and if he does, the Reaper is going to add another body to his resume. So, yeah, I got Robert Whittaker. But because of the 38 years old and he's moving up a weight class again, and Krylov's a bit of a wild man at times. It's capable of looking good from time to time. It all makes it dangerous. But yeah, if the line movement is because people think it's closer to 50-50, that's fair. I got Whittaker all day. If the line movement is because Whittaker's hurt or Whittaker's not, he's moved up to 205 or Whittaker's not the same guy he was and he is sounding a little different, you don't want to be betting big on him. But in terms of a stylistical clash, yeah, I actually think this is a winnable fight for him. So I got Robbie the Reaper Whittaker to hopefully get back in the win column.
Yes, sir. All right, moving on down. We got Gable Steveson taking on Elisha Ellison. Biggest favorite, maybe of the year on a UFC card. Gable is as high as minus 10,000, as
biggest
low
favorite
as
ever.
Is it maybe it could be the biggest?
Have you ever
favorite.
seen this before on a UFC
I
card? I mean, we see it all the time on the regionals.
Regionals, you see it all the time, but
just a Brave CF card.
I'm sure it's probably happened before. At moments, I've never seen this minus 10,000 that Cloud Bet is hanging. I don't think I've seen that in a UFC fight. I mean, what are you supposed to do with it? Elijah Ellison got taken down and ground and pounded by Brando Perisic, who is proving himself to be a half decent heavyweight prospect. He's taking on a guy who trains with John Jones,
and Josh Hogan,
has all of the wrestling accolades possible, and Josh Hogan. Under 1.5. Gable Steveson round 1 is like minus 290 in places right now. I mean, this should be an absolute drubbing. I struggle to see this lasting more than 3 minutes, to be perfectly honest. Ellison is a hand-picked opponent. They're like, who is the worst guy on the road? We got to get Gable on that McGregor card, so people get eyeballs on one of the better heavyweight prospects on his rise. Very typical UFC behavior. I don't have much else to say besides that. Are you giving Ellison any shot here, Coates?
No, zero. When he fought Perisic, it was supposed to be a Contender Series fight, and then they just moved it from the Contender Series to a UFC card. That essentially was still Contender Series fight, and I don't think that Elijah got the contract. Ellison looked awful, loses, back to the drawing board. Instead, the UFC says, "Hey, man, we can cut you right now, but if you do us this favor and fight Gable Steveson, if you can just show up and lose, we'll guarantee you a much better matchup and give you a third UFC fight. If you don't take this fight, there's no second UFC fight or third UFC fight. You're just going to get released." So fighters fight, man. What's he got to lose? Nothing. He's the biggest underdog in UFC history. Everyone is expecting him to lose. If he can fight 3 minutes, then people are going to pat him on the back and say, damn, dude, that was pretty impressive. So yeah, he's going to go out there and do the job. And then Gable wrecks him. The only thing that could possibly go wrong is that the under 1.5's hitting, and I got Steveson first round, and I also got Gable by TKO first round. The only thing that could go wrong is that he knows that this is the worst guy in the roster, and he knows that there's not a whole lot of fights like this available. So once he wins this one, they'll give him another one that's quasi soft, and then at some point, this is the kind of guy like Hogan. Hogan's what, his second fight in the UFC, his third fight in the UFC, he's fighting Curtis Blades. They're going to fast track you. So if you want to work on maybe, hey, I've never been to a second round before. I'll just drag this guy to the second round just to test my cardio. Or, hey, man, I don't got a submission win on my record. This is a submittable opponent. I can take him down and work on some of that stuff that Greg Jackson and John Jones are showing me and pick up an arm triangle. Well, if he plays with his food and it gets out of the first round, I'm losing money. And if he grabs a submission over the TKO just because he can, I'm losing money as well. Those are the only two ways you're losing money in this fight. It's like, otherwise he's not losing. I think if he was to go out there, shoot a bad shot, just shoot a shot and blow his own knee out, that he'd still win this fight. I think if he threw a kick and if somehow broke his leg in half like he was Anderson Silva, that he could basically just be like Lieutenant Dan and wrestle the guy to the ground and still beat him. I just think he's far and above this level. And so kudos to Ellison for stepping up and taking the fight. I'm sure there's a whole lot of guys with their hands in the air, but he's in a situation where he's like, I didn't earn my way to the UFC to begin with. They gave me a little tryout against Perisic. I got smoked. If I fight this guy, they're not going to cut me and say, oh, he fought Perisic and he fought Gable. It's like they're going to say, hey, we really appreciate you stepping up. And they're going to give him the Alan Bodos of the world or the Chase Shermans of the world. I understand those guys aren't currently on the roster. I just mean heavyweight's one of those divisions where there's a lot of bad guys on the roster. He's proven that he wants to take tough fights or that he's willing to take tough fights and show up. There's a spot for him. But they're going to have to give him a softball win, or else you're just one of those guys that goes 0-4, 0-5, Jose Medina types. Maybe that's what he's going to do. But they will keep him around because he's saying yes. And that's the only reason this fight got made, because he said yes.
Hundo P. Will they give him another fight because he took the Gable Steveson fight?
For sure.
Though, who would they feed? Who would be the next person that they would get? It's got to be some sort of low-level heavyweight that they would like to get back on track?
Well, I mean, yeah, Tim versus Tai Tuivasa makes a lot of sense because we're trying.
Ty's got to just hang him up.
No, he can beat Sean Sharaf and he can beat Elijah Ellison. Okay, if those two guys are available, Ty can get the win. Ty can get the shoey. But I was talking to a buddy the other day, and he mentioned some local heavyweight, and he's like, "How do you think he does against the worst guy?" And I was, he mentioned Louis Sutherland. Louis Sutherland really not that bad. There's worse guys than Louis Sutherland. But it would be up for the UFC to say. I'm looking at the roster right now. Sean Sharaf, they could give him. Max Jimenez, bum-ass BJJ black belt, something like that would make sense. Felipe Franco's 0-1 in the UFC. Alan Fry Jr., what? Why is he on the roster? Could give him. Alvin Hines is a juicer, but Alvin Hines whips his ass, man. I'm saying Alvin Hines whips that ass. Denzel Freeman's in need of a win.
He's got a fight booked.
Salty Baldiev, I think he's down at 205.
I was gonna say Absland.
Guillermo Pat.
Absland would make sense, but Absland's fighting Guillermo Pat.
Yeah. So, Marcus Buchecha.
Ooh, Buchecha could use a
These guys need wins, man.
Buchecha could use a win. That makes a lot of sense. It's probably not over. They'll try to use you one more time, Elijah Ellison.
Yeah, because you agreed to take this level of fight, even though you shouldn't.
Yeah. No, man, the market agrees. I mean, you just have to. It's the unders. It's everything like that. That's how you approach this fight. Are you going to get rich playing them? Probably not. But I hate to say the word free money, but it feels mostly like free money. Okay, let's rifle through the prelims here. Such a great card from top to bottom. Adrian Yanez taking on Cody Garbrandt. Yanez is a pretty sizable favorite. Minus 450. Come back on Garbrandt plus 350. Where are you at with this one, Cody?
Yeah, well, so Cody Garbrandt, I'm going to draw a parallel here, although one guy attained the tippity top of the mountain and the other one, not quite. But he's got a lot of comparisons to Conor McGregor. When he came to the UFC, he was the real deal. Funny enough, both guys debuted against the same guy, Marcus Brimage. Marcus Brimage was Cody Garbrandt's first fight in the UFC, and he was Conor McGregor's first fight in the UFC. And both guys then went on to win a UFC title. Both guys went on a wicked good win streak. Cody Garbrandt looked to have the goods, and he's dancing in Las Vegas. UFC, it was like 207, Ronda Rousey's retirement fight at the time against Amanda Nunes. And he's dancing, and he's doing the cha-cha slide in there against Dominic Cruz. Having a fun time. Beats a legendary Hall of Fame fighter. Sky looked like the limit for him. And then damage more than age is what changed. He has been known for getting knocked out in the gym. Obviously, him and TJ Dillashaw fought back and forth saying that Dillashaw had knocked him down. Apparently, some of his guys that had wrestled with him in college, he never wrestled in college. He wrestled in high school. That he apparently been knocked out a few times there as well. He had something like 40 amateur fights. Apparently, been knocked out a few times there as well. Even in his MMA career before, as an amateur, he fought as an amateur and had been knocked out. Footage of that one's a nasty knockout. Then when he fought TJ Dillashaw for the first time professionally, the 2 knockdowns, the knockout, they run it right back. 2 more knockdowns, a knockout. And then the very next fight after that, he fought Pedro Munoz, who got the knockdown, the knockout. Being knocked down 5 times over 3 fights, being knocked out 3 times in 3 fights, I don't think he ever recovered from that. His wins since then are Trevin Jones, who's been cut from the UFC and has gone 1-3 on the regionals, losing to not good guys. Brian Kelleher went 0-1 after that fight and then retired. And then, Davidson Figueiredo out-wrestles him, got a submission, UFC 300, you remember that one? Ronnie Barcelos, first round's competitive. And Garbrandt just, the wheels fall off. There's no volume. Like, he used to have power, and I think he relies a little too much on the power. But he's gotten to a point where his coaches have said, you can't be reckless anymore because you don't have the chin for it. So now he can't get in your face. He can't make it a dogfight. He can't go punch for punch. He's been programmed to not do that anymore. And if you do that, it's not going to work. So now he's trying to fight pretty from the outside, but I don't see the volume. The power hasn't been around for a while. And so if the nail wasn't already in the coffin because let's be real, Davidson Figueiredo is a former world champion. I get it's 125, but he's got some back class. And Ronnie Barcelos, my boy. And even though you went 0 for 8 in takedowns against Ronnie Barcelos, He's a former member of the Brazilian national team. Okay, but you went 0 for 8 on takedowns against Yang Zhao his last time out. He got tripled up in significant strokes by Long Zhao his last time out. He lost all 3 rounds. Homeboy from China lost 2 points. You still should have lost. And they gave it to him. But I mean, I saw a guy running away because he thought he was up on the scorecards, not wanting to step in the pocket anymore, engage. Reflex and timing slowed down. His punch resistance is still very debatable. And his own offensive punching power just doesn't seem to be there. He's a different guy, not a guy you want to back.
I was very grateful to have cashed Cody Garbrandt in that.
Buddy,
I don't think we deserved it. Those are one of the ones that you go, you know what? I won that bet. I'm going to take a little break from complaining about, not getting a bounce, anything like that, because give and take. But
what? So
I did not really think outside of the point deduction, we just
2 points.
Oh, it's 2 points. Yes, 2 points. Oh yeah, we got.
I know something crazy about that fight. The only entertaining point of that entire fight, because Garbrandt almost puked in the bucket. Remember, he didn't puke, but he almost puked in the bucket. And then he gets up, and they're like, "Are you good to continue?" And he says, "Yeah." And the round resumes, and Garbrandt immediately rushes to him, gets in his face, starts landing some hands, and the corner just starts yelling, "Don't get aggressive. Don't." And he immediately just sits back to doing what he had been doing in the first 2 rounds, which is why he was down 2 rounds in the first place. So, the only thing I can think of is all 3 judges were men. And watching a guy get hit in the balls that hard that many times, it's like, dude, you won the fight. Screw that other guy who did that to you. It was just a sympathy decision, but not one that he looked good in. And then you look at his other fights, he's not looking good. His durability's not there. His speed's not there. His volume's not there. The only thing that'll help him out in this particular matchup is that he is a former state wrestling champion in Ohio. I know high school is a long time ago. He's a state champion and a state runner-up. Ohio is just an unbelievably good state for wrestling. So no doubt about it that his wrestling at one time was good. And Georgie Poulos is an Ohio State champ. And then, he spent all that time at Team Alpha Male. So I'm sure he knows how to wrestle. And wrestling Adrian Yanez is the path in this matchup. But just his last 2 fights, Cody Garbrandt's last 2 fights, he's gone 0 for 15 for takedowns. He's not taken a guy down since Trevin Jones, which was 3.5 years, not 3.5, but over 3 years ago. And it's Trevin Jones. And you didn't get a whole lot of control time in that fight.
And he got taken down himself.
And he got taken down himself in that fight. So when I think about Adrian Yanez, it's like, okay, Adrian Yanez is just, not that he's like a better striker, but where they're both at, dude, he's way faster. He's got some slick hooks. He's got better cardio. He's got better pace. He's faster. Is he chinny as well? A little bit. But, he's not been knocked out in over 3 or a little under 3 years. The last guy that knocked him out, Jonathan Martinez, it was just beat him up all over. But the kicking game is certainly what gave him trouble in that fight. I don't think he's... Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry.
No, go.
My bad.
No bad. Cardio
looked great against Ricky Simon last time out.
Really
and
did.
That's what turned that fight into a majority, right?
A majority draw. Got the 10-8 round, got the knockdown, and the first round, Ricky Simone's trying to take him down. The second round, Ricky starts to get figured out. Yanez is looking good. Third round, Yanez takes right over, almost finishes him. This close. Gets a 10-8 on 2 judges' scorecards, and ends up being the majority. But, I thought his cardio looked good there, but also Ricky Simone's a good wrestler. Ricky Simone is as good of a wrestler as Cody Garbrandt, as far as I'm concerned. Pacific Northwest guy, wrestled a little bit in college, which Cody didn't. I would say that that's a good comparable fight to, well, how is the takedown defense? Okay, well, you got taken down twice, but it's twice on 5 attempts, and he had 2 minutes of control time. Daniel Marcos is solid. Daniel Marcos got 2 takedowns, only a few minutes of control time. The guys that have been able to wrestle him don't really hold him down. But so if you're one of these chain wrestler guys capable of scoring 5, 6, 7, you'll do good against Yanez. Garbrandt's not. He's not scoring 5, 6, 7 takedowns in a fight. He's 0 for 15 in his last 15 attempts. So at some point, the takedown doesn't work out. We're forced to exchange. Gets clipped. Because they're both a tad chinny and they both can crack, I would suggest that both guys could get knocked out. Sure, it's MMA. Could happen. But Yanez is the real bandit. Like Cody Garbrandt had flirted with going down to 125. All of a sudden he doesn't want to fight these 35ers anymore. He went down to 125. He fought Kai Kara France. Kai Kara France melted him. And he goes back up to 135. Like Kai's 5'4". So is it the weight cut? Is it the chin? Is it the punch resistance? Is it the age? He's not old, but he's starting to fight like his best days are way behind him. And the comparison to McGregor is, you look back 9-10 years ago, Conor's the man. He is the man. You look back 9-10 years ago, Cody Garbrandt's the man. It's that father time beats you. Injuries beat you. You start to take more damage and accrue more damage. Justin Poirier's on record talking about how much damage he's sustained, what the doctors are telling him. Eric Spicely, UFC veteran Eric Spicely, beat Thiago Santos. Remember that one? Yeah, Eric Spicely's on record saying that one fight with Duran Win broke my brain. Like, getting hit that many times changes you. So when we talk about some of these guys that have been in the game a long time, and the 25 fight vets, 35 fight vets, 45 fight vets, the human body doesn't react the same for everybody. You can go talk to a Joe Riggs or a Chris Lytle. Chris Lytle's doing color commentating. Nobody's had more fights than Chris Lytle, and he's okay. Yeah, these other guys, they take a few, and that's it. Chris Holdsworth had 8 pro fights and couldn't fight no more due to repeated blows to the head. So it happens. To me, Cody Garbrandt's looking for what's next in his life and doesn't quite happen. So he gets a stupid-ass face tattoo. That's generally a sign of looking for something. You're having a midlife crisis or something. I don't know why you would get that. He's looking for something that's not there. Let's change weight classes. Let's try this. Let's not spend as much time at Team Alpha Male. Let's train over here as well. Let's go back to our roots and wrestle more. You're looking for something because you're lost. And Adrian Yanez he is who he is. Yeah, he knows the skill set, and he's way better off at this point in time to throw hands and get a W on Saturday night. So I will be taking him. 450 sounds like a lot, but yeah, I think he wins this fight a lot more often than not. So I get it.
Garbrandt feels well overdue to take a canvas nap at this point. Ben Rock's been scraping by to keep his roster spot. Yanez's hands looked really good in round 3, particularly. I was on Ricky Simon, and I felt very fortunate to get a draw as that fight played out, particularly in round 3. So Yanez KO is like minus 115. I'm sure I'll have something on it. I don't love the money line, to be perfectly honest, but that's neither here nor there. We got Luke Riley taking on Kai Kamaka. Luke Riley minus 260 favorite to come back on Kamaka is plus 220. I'm going to go fill up my coffee, Cody. Why don't you break this one down?
What can I say about Kai Kamaka that hasn't already been said about Brad Tavares? They are essentially the same guy, man. 80% of their fights are going to go to decision. Doesn't really have that big punching power. Can wrestle. Can strike. Awesome sparring partner in the gym. Good guy to get rounds in. Both guys are at Extreme Couture in Las Vegas. And, he's set in his ways. Brad's a little bit older, and as such, he's got more fights. And as such, he can't take the same level of punishment that he once could. But Kai can take a punch. Kai can roll with it. And Kai Kamaka's had 6 fights in his career go to split decision. 25% of his pro fights have gone to decision. 8 of his last 10 fights have gone just outright to decision. That's who he is. And so as such, because of the splits, because it's almost guaranteed to go the full 15, you get a lot of decisions. Now I got to rely on the judges. So I don't mind betting against Kai Kamaka because he's a generalist. He's generally good everywhere, but he's not really elite, particularly very good in any one area, as much as he's a well-rounded mixed martial artist. Try to wrestle a little bit, will defend takedowns, can throw volume, relies more on volume because he just doesn't have that big punching power. Now, if you know it's going to go to decision and this guy's generally in competitive fights, well, then you don't want to be overpaying on the opponent for a greasy decision that could end up just going Kai Kamaka's way. His last time out against Dakota Hope, I had him. I picked him in that fight thinking he would stuff Dakota Hope's takedowns, and he was a better striker. He did stuff the takedowns, but he wasn't really a better striker. He's getting hit a lot. The more that you fight, the more that you compete, the more that you start to rack up these fights, you're getting hit all the time. it's certainly not beneficial, but in his case, it's like this is what he's been destined for. He's a Brad Tavares type. He's just destined to go through the motions and get into these close type fights that could go either way, where he lands some shots and his opponents land some shots. And I picked him, but when they announced him as the winner, I thought he won. Like, biased because I had money on him, but the internet seemed to disagree. They were saying they thought Hope won. Hope landed the more damaging shots. Hope was backing him up. Hope was pushing the pace. Yada yada yada. It was just one of those type fights. That's what he brings to the table. Luke Riley is a better striker than Kamaka. Luke Riley's got way more power than Kamaka. Luke Riley just seems all around like a better prospect. You got a guy that's 18-7 on his second run with the UFC versus an undefeated 13-0 prospect. Paddy Pimblett's the co-main event. We're going to put his buddy Luke Riley as the co-main event. I hear Gabby coming downstairs, and I like this for dog selections because I do understand how Kamaka just grease this thing. But it seems like to me, especially when you're watching the footage on it, like Luke Riley's just a smoother operator. But when you look at Luke Riley's debut against Michael Aswell, certainly in the first round, Aswell just coming forward and mixing it up and not being afraid of him gives him a lot of success in the early first round. The other fights with Bogdan Grad won the first round against Luke Riley. Some of these fights, Teriel Abasov on the regional scene, Teriel Abasov's taken down Luke Riley. So Kai being a generalist and being generally good everywhere, like he might mix in some wrestling. And in the striking exchanges, he could keep up relatively close pace. And he could win a round. And if he can win a round, he's got 6 split decisions in his career. 6. So who's to say that some judges don't like what he's doing more than the other guy? It's like I have Luke Riley. It's just, again, when you're looking at the number on this fight, it's like Luke Riley's a big favorite. Like, he's just going to go dust Kai Kamaka. Finishing Kai is not super easy. If you end up just beating him, you're ripping him in the body, but he takes you down. What are the judges counting? Are they counting, the other guy got a takedown? Yeah, but a couple body shots. How much damage does a body shot do? I know it does a lot of damage. It's not the same as a head. It's like a leg kick. Hey, man, the guy got punched in the head 4 times that round. Head snapback. Yeah, but he landed half a dozen calf kicks. All right. Is the other guy limping? No. How much damage got done? Lots of damage got done. You don't see it. So, yeah. I have Luke. I don't really want to put Luke all the way at the top because I feel like his fights are generally kind of competitive, especially early. And Kai knows how to keep things competitive himself. Maybe this thing ends up being way greasier than I'd want a -300 to be. So I do have Luke Riley. I want to see the weigh-ins. I want to feel better about it. I want to, try to get as good of a price. Do I take him by decision, knowing that Kai goes to a lot of decisions and is durable? Or do I buy into the hype that Luke Riley actually does? He hits really hard. Does he catch a guy like Kai Kamaka, who's getting a little bit older and has had 25 plus fights? It's all stuff that I got to still consider, but I'm kind of waiting until Friday. For right now, it is Luke Riley as the pick. Where he gets placed, best way to attack it prop-wise, I'm still trying to figure that part out.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what the split decision prop is on that one. I'm just trying to pull it up right now. Don't really see it on the other pages there. Because, one, it's Kai Kamaka fight. They're always pretty close. The fight for Riley against Aswell didn't really hold up all that well, considering what happened to Gaston Bolanos.
Well,
it didn't look as great in hindsight. I think we all lost a bunch of money on Michael Aswell because of maybe that result and how Aswell did in that fight. Unless you bet Gaston, but I wasn't really seeing the Gaston, just that didn't come across my table. That was not a bet that I really ever considered, and maybe I should have. But Riley split 10-1. Fight ends and split is like 5 plus 550. That's a way to go about it. Yeah, Riley's a guy that, like, on the regional scene, I had. I'd taken Teriel Abasov at like an outrageous, like a 10-1 price tag or something like that. I took a small shot on it. And round 1, I was looking pretty smart. And then when the takedown stopped happening, then you look kind of stupid. But I haven't been comes from the same camp as Paddy, so maybe the career arc is going to head like it did for Paddy, because I wasn't all that impressed with Paddy when he first showed up, and Somehow he's kind of like Drickus Duplessis of 155
fair.
pounds. It looks ugly, but somehow he makes it work. Riley's nothing like his boxing looks tight, looks crisp, looks technical. I don't think he has the grappling. Definitely doesn't have the grappling of some of the other people out of his gym. Flying over to Vegas, taking on a local guy who fights and trains right at home there. Could it be a situation where we end up in a split? Maybe. I like Riley by decision, and maybe I'll have a little sniff of those of the split props later on in the week. That's where I'm at with this fight. But yeah, Kamaka does have an ability to make it close. The split prop at plus 550, I don't think is crazy. Not for Riley by split, anybody by split, just for the fight to go to a split decision. With the level of crazy judging that we have in this sport, I don't think it's actually. I thought it was gonna be like plus 400. To be perfectly honest, when I was looking that up, I was like, it's gonna be plus 400, and then I'm gonna be main and high. So at the end of the day, what do I really think there? It's like it's probably maybe a 5% edge. It's not like I'm gonna go broke from it, but I'm a little bit surprised that it's plus 550, to be perfectly honest.
You got featherweight Brad Tavares, man. He's had 6 split decisions before. He has a split decision against Diego Brandao for the Tough Enough title. He's kind of one of these, he fights to the level of his opposition. If he fights a good guy, he shows up. If he fights a bad guy, he fights just like the bad guy. Yeah, maybe a little bit risky, but it sounds like you're picking up what I'm putting down. You're kind of on the same page there.
I picked up what you put down after I had to go to the washroom and fill up my coffee and all of that, but I figured I had a pretty good idea of where that conversation had gone, but I was gone for like 3 minutes there. Thanks for ragging the puck. I was mortified that when I walked back down, you'd be standing there, completely silent, and I would have to have
but we've been working in TV for 12 years.
And then I would have to edit the show, which would add an extra like 2 hours of processing and all. You're the best, Cody. That's why we pay you the big bucks here.
Oh, yeah. I'll get through this next one to make up some time for you.
Let's please get through this one. Tracy Cortez, Wang Kang. Kang Wang. What's her name again? Everybody Wang Cong tonight.
Everybody Wang Cong tonight.
That's how
Everybody Wang Cong tonight. Will she Wang Cong on Saturday night? Is the question.
I don't know, man. She's such a tough one to get a read on, right? It's like competitive with the Shevchenko in kickboxing, gets knocked out by Gabriela Fernandez. Cortez has never been one that like really, really impresses me. She's had a pretty decent run in the UFC, way better than I think I thought she ever would. Takedown defense, pretty solid. Offensive wrestling, pretty solid. Obviously, Erin Blanchfield last time out kind of showed that she can, if you have that level of grappling, you can find you can find the neck. But as Wang Kong's takedown defense, like the takedown defense hasn't been really tested all that much. The volume's been hit or miss. Like I have no idea what to do with this girl, Cody. Where are you at with this fight?
Yeah, well, it's another one where it's like Wang Cong has elite striking. She I think she had a draw with Tiffany Van Soos 16 years ago. She fought Valentina Shevchenko 11 years ago. This girl is a high-level kickboxer. She got some decent Western boxing as well. But yeah, even though they'll tell you she's only 34 years old, it feels like she's old. And it feels like she's probably past the point of gaining world-class grappling skills to add to it. So as a result, if they give her low-end strikers, she'll probably chop them up. If they give her somebody with good grappling, or even in the case of when she fought Gabby Fernandez, she got booted lopside the head, hit the deck, gave up her back, got rear naked choked. So it's like, yeah, if your whole game is play punchy kicky and you're 34 years old and you've got professional kickboxing fights dating back to 16 years ago, do we have other elements? Because if not, you're going to become a 50-50 fighter. Maybe you keep the fight standing and you land some striking. Maybe you get taken down and you get swarmed. Her last fight with Eduardo Moura, I loaded up on her. And Like, I thought she was winning the fight on the basis of she's landing more, but like she gives up easy takedowns. And when she gives them up, she don't really like explode back up to her feet all that quickly. And Moore's a very limited level of opposition. Tracy Cortez, meanwhile, is like everybody in her family wrestles. Junior Cortez, Reyes or Cortez. She had a brother who was a 2-time Arizona State wrestling champion. It's a wrestling family. And she wrestles. Of her fight on the Contender Series and her 2, 4, 6, 8 fights in the UFC and 1 fight on the Contender Series, so 9 fights total. She's taken down 8 of the 9 opponents. Only girl she didn't take down was Jasmine Jasudavicius because she was content beating her up on the feet. She's taken down Stephanie Egger, who's huge, judo black belt, and I think it was a European champ as a judo black belt. Justine Quiche, super strong. Melissa Gatto, not bad. Rose Namajunas, former world champion. She took her down twice. Vivian Arroyo, strong hips early, took her down 3 times. And her last time against Erin Blanchfield managed a takedown. Now, is she crazy? That's what I'm told, Paul. I'm told she's batshit crazy. But yeah, does that take away from your ability to improve? Are you in the gym? Are you dealing with drama? And I have this boyfriend, and then he said this, and Brian Ortega's doing this interview. Then she's dating Alex Pereira. Then Alex Pereira says she's crazy. Then, all this. She's got the fake eyelashes. One gets punched off in the face. Instantly, as soon as that eyelash came off, power gone. It was like Samson's hair. You're religious, right? You're from a religious family. You're not religious, but you're from a religious family. Same here. Samson's hair, dude. Once he lost his hair, no good. That's like her with the eyelash. And then to make matters worse on this fight, remember she cut her ponytail off, weighed on the scale, holding the ponytail. So what? You cut it off so you can make weight, but you're holding it in your hand while you're on the scale. 125 is not easy for her to make, and people forget that Wang Cong missed weight in her last fight, came in at like 127. So both of them are a little big for the weight class. Both of them are probably a little bit banged up. Both of them are a little inconsistent. But what it comes down to is you got a girl at her best, she can wrestle. And you got another girl at her best, she can strike. Well, which one would you want? The wrestling. I think Tracy Cortez can get this fight to the ground. And if she does, she's good. If she does not get this fight to the ground, it's also not the end of the world. Like, although I don't advise fighting Wang Cong strictly on the feet for 15 minutes, she did show in fights with Vivian Arroyo, her fight with Rose Namajunas, certainly the fight with Jasmine Jasudavicius. She can keep volume high. She can crash the pocket. She can land some short shots on the inside. She can maybe try to press you into the cage and get dirty with knees to the body, knees to the thigh, she's not a foot stomp kind of girl, but you do see her kind of rough up opponents. That would be what the 2 against Wang Cong is. Just try to lean up on her, try to wear on her. If Eduardo Moura can take her down, if Gabriela Fernandez can hurt her on the feet, get her to the ground and submit her, Tracy's capable of doing that as well. It's that neither girl is someone that you can back confidently because they'll mail in the odd performance. So I'll take Tracy Cortez, but if the eyelash gets knocked out, live bet the other side because Samson's hair, Paul, come on.
Yeah, you're just kind of hoping that one of these girls shows up with the right kind of crazy on fight night. And yet, not to sound sexist or anything like that, if you're going to be offended, just earmuffs. But you're a married man, Cody. It's just like
they're all crazy. I get it.
They all have us guys do as well, but it's just like you just never know what type of move when you roll out of bed in the morning that you're gonna have to deal with that day.
Well, I'm not gonna be sexist on this either, but if I see at weigh-ins, one of them cut off her own ponytail and is holding it, and the other one's dressed like the Joker, she's dressed like the Joker. It'd be like one of them will cut your dick off, and the other one will break your dick off. So best to just steer clear.
It's a pick 'em for a reason.
Brian Ortega's career has never been the same since. Alex Pereira's career has never been the same since. Just saying, man. There's some succubuses you want to avoid altogether. Yeah. I can cut this all out of the TV portion because we're past the hour mark. That's why I'm talking nonsense.
Okay.
And then remind me, I got to go back and take out that Benoit Saint-Denis being a slut joke. But outside of that, we're at that point in the show where we can open up and have a little fun with it.
Credit to the people who got like Cortez plus money earlier in the week. Get a nice little CLV trophy. Whether that shows up in the bank account is a different story altogether. That's but getting the best price is important. I honestly have no idea. Never really been a Cortez one, and Wang Cong. her style just, not enough volume. I think the grappling is there to kind of be exploited. Just question marks around both of these girls. So for me, it's honestly just going to be a pass. Even for the purposes of this show, and I rarely ever do this. Usually I'm able to pull the trigger. I don't even have a take. It's a pick 'em for a reason. I'm going to steer clear entirely. All of the fault and guilt. Who did you pick?
Yeah, I went with Tracy Cortez.
All of the fault is going to fall on Cody if Cortez blows it up, because I'm just steering clear. It's all yours. All right, we got Damian Pinas taking on Cesar Almeida. Pinas is a big piece here at minus 240. Come back on Cesar plus 205. Can Pinas wrestle? Like, have you seen Pinas get in deep before?
No, but the way he was defending Schultz's takedowns and ending up on top, I think he looks like he's got some hips and some athleticism. But you're right, he doesn't really wrestle. Got one submission win.
Because, like, I feel like he was I think we both faded him. Maybe not heavy, but like we were questioning his wrestling ability, whether Schultz was and like looked like a complete moron for taking Wes Schultz in that fight.
Yeah,
but sure. It's like Cesar Almeida. He's old. He's what? He's 38. He's long in the tooth, but the guy's got a serious kickboxing record and has fought legitimate opponents over the course of his illustrious career. So, see, if you're not mixing in takedowns against this guy, I mean, there's a reason why Cezary Olashechek, Mikey O's brother, just went out there and was just like, I want nothing to do with it. Took him down 6 times and rode out top position. Cesary's a very, very solid striker. He wanted nothing to do with that in this fight. If Damian's not able to do that, how comfortable are you going to be laying minus 240 on this fight? For me, at this point in the week, I think it's a dog or pass type of situation. We haven't been picking too many underdogs over the course of this card. This is one that has my attention. I know he's old, but the chin has historically been very, very solid on him. And if that wrestling ability is not really in place, I got big question marks. Younger, longer, everything like that. I get that stuff. They're both 6'1" according to UFC stats. Pinas has a 5-inch reach advantage. You can do a lot with 5 inches, I've been told. It's dog or pass. It's just something just doesn't add up to me here. What about you?
Yeah, I actually do have Cesar Almeida, and pretty well for all the reasons you said. He's much better kickboxer, and I'm not just saying that because he's a former Brazilian kickboxing champion, and he fought Alex Pereira 3 times. All 3 times went to decision. One of them was a title fight. He's got 11 rounds of professional kickboxing with Alex Pereira, and won one of them. He fought Donovan Weiss twice, former Glory kickboxing champion. I'm not just saying that's why he's a better striker. It's physically watch the tape. He is a better striker than Damian Pinas. He moves better. He's just small inches. He sees punches coming his way. He's got a good diverse attack. Go to the body, go to the leg, go to the head. I think if this was strictly a striking battle, especially at the number, let's be real, they're offering a nice plus money price tag with him. But like at this number, if this thing's a striking match, he's a better striker. Pinas is 24 years old. He's 14 years younger. And he apparently has the death touch. You've seen Derek Lewis. You've seen the Black Beast. Well, now you're seeing the Black Penis, Damian Pinas. If this guy touches you, it ain't gonna be good for you, buddy.
No.
But what I see about him is it's like advanced basics. They're not even advanced. He sticks to the basics. He's jab, cross, jab, cross. Throws a 1-2. Throws a 1-2 straight down the middle. It's that if he touches you, these guys tend to just melt over right away. When you look at Cesar Almeida, he's historically super durable. He's never been knocked out. He fought Alex Pereira for 11 rounds as a professional in kickboxing. But 2 fights back when he fought Abdul Razak Al Hassan, he gets dropped, and it's a 1-2 down the pipe. Mm-hmm. The difference is that Abdul Razak Al Hassan is like a real small middleweight. He's like 5'10" or something, maybe a little bit smaller.
Yeah.
he's the third smallest middleweight on the roster. It's like him, Bruno Ferreira, and Torrance Finney. Like, he's not big, and he's got a 74-inch reach. Like, he just steps in, left hand, right down the middle, 1-2, touches him. He hits the deck. He recovers quick. He gets back up. He eventually gets a knockdown of his own, ends up winning the fight by knockout. That's all well and good. But yes, he's 38 years old, and he's had a bunch of fights. And could a guy 14 years younger than him, who's explosive and has legitimate power, could this guy not touch him and put him away? Absolutely. If he was from Aruba, which he is, and training out of Aruba, no way I'm taking him. He trains at Nova União. And like, anybody from anywhere in the world can be good if you go Mansur Kara. Mansur Kara. He's good because he lives in New Jersey. Let's be real. Been in New Jersey a really long time. He's good. In this case, it's the same thing. He's been at Nova União. He's training with these Brazilian guys. He's got a Brazilian style. He inches forward. 5-inch reach advantage. You wouldn't know it because he doesn't establish anything on the outside. He inches forward, sets up the one, puts the two down the pipe, knocks you out. The thing about that is that now you're taking on a guy who specifically mastered the art of Brazilian kickboxing. He's fought in a lot of Brazilian kickboxers. He's fought in a lot of specialists. He's seen what you bring to the table. You are faster than him, you're younger than him, and you probably hit harder than him. But if you fall into this lull like Atiba Gauthier, he's bigger, faster, and stronger than you, buddy. So what are you going to do? Well, I can maybe use some veteran craftsmanship to just get him moving to the wrong side and establish some body kicks and keep him at range and fluster him. And if you can fluster him, there becomes the second problem with Damian, the big black Pinas, is that all of his fights generally end in the first round. He's got one pro loss, but he got disqualified. But yeah, he's a little raw, doesn't fully understand the rules, has big power, has not been forced to fight deep in second rounds, has not been forced to deep fight in third rounds. This is a UFC pay-per-view. It's in Las Vegas. Conor McGregor is the main event. The crowd's hot. It's summer in Vegas. Yeah, there's AC, but you get what I'm saying, is that he's just too big of a favorite to be trusted that he's just going to knock him out. Okay, if he knocks him out, great. If he doesn't just knock him out, this fight ends up getting really dicey for him. And at that price, I'm just not in. I'm not in on that. So it also goes back to what you said. I don't have a whole lot of underdogs at this point. The underdogs that I do have, Bobby Green, he's what, plus 110? So yeah, I need somebody. There's going to be somebody that spoils one of these 2 or 3-1 favorites, and I kind of feel like Almeida could spoil one of these 2 to 3 favorites. If you can wrestle, yeah, right, he is no good. And maybe Pinas can.
Yeah,
not shown it to be confident enough to back him firmly. So I'm dog or pass on this one.
We're on the same page. All right, moving on down. We got late replacement John Garza stepping up and in for Ethan Ewing. Ewing versus Farid Basharat was going to be such a great fight. It's too bad that Ewing had to pull out. But Garza, shouts to Michael, the Prince of Africa, South Africa, EFC, from the Bookie Beatdown Discord there. He got me onto this, not this week necessarily. Yeah, I've been watching, waiting. Full disclosure, I'm a John Garza fan. All right. I've won a couple bets on him over in the Fury Streets. He's 23. The stand-up looks great, but like, what a step up. He was supposed to fight German Ponce or Pineda, and now he's going to undefeated 15-0 Farid Basharat. I understand why Basharat's a massive favorite. Basharat does have a tendency to make fights pretty close. I don't know if his offensive grappling, like if he was a super, super stout offensive dynamo of a wrestler, it'd be an easy fate of Garza. But like, I like this kid's game. He's only 23. He's got some bad losses, only a few years ago, but it's like he was 20 at that point. I don't think everything's all put together. I think it's a massive ask. Before I say that I'm picking Garza, and I'm probably gonna wait to see where this market goes to take a small shot on Garza. I understand it's a Herculean effort that'll be required, but at least this kid was getting ready for a card a couple weeks ago, so we know he's going to be in shape. If you watch him on tape, like he's got very, very solid boxing. Like he's very light on his feet, clean, in and out of the pocket. I mean, Farid was getting ready for somebody very similar, I think, just probably a lot more refined in Ethan Ewing. But for me, it's dog or pass, but I haven't clicked the button yet. What about you?
Yeah, not like I'm the biggest Basharat fan when you watch him fight, but I am a big Basharat fan when you bet him. Like I've gone 6-0 in him and so far, and 1-0 in the Contender Series. He just knows how to win fights. His brother got cut. His brother's wasn't the good Basharat, but his brother also, they're not big power punchers. They're not big submission guys. They generally kind of like go through the motions and squeak on by. And I just don't think that the UFC cares for their style. But Farid is undefeated for a reason, is that he's really high ring IQ. Like he can strike and he can wrestle and he can grapple. And he knows that, hey, you've landed 13 strikes and I've landed 12 this round. So I'll finish the round with the takedown. Or there's no takedown this round and I landed 14 strikes this round and you landed 11. Like one thing that's real concerning about him is his last fight with John Matsumoto, he outstruck him by 4 total strikes. He outlanded him 80-76. Before that,
times, though.
He got taken down 7 times. Won a split decision, greasy. But his fight before that against Chris Gutierrez was only a 10-strike differential. He outstruck him 41-31. Him versus Victor Hugo is 60-45. Him versus Taylor Lapilus, 2-strike differential. He outstruck him 42-40. He's, other than his fight with Alan Bagoso on the Contender Series, he doesn't blow out anybody. It's like he slightly lands more than you, and he might mix in a takedown. Of his 6 UFC fights, 5 of them have gone to decision. The last one being the split against Matsumoto. So, he's another one of these guys that you're going to be at the mercy of what the judges are looking at. And if they're looking at, Farid popped his jab and stuck to the outside, this is a live event. It's a big live event crowd. It's a big pay-per-view that's going to have a big crowd. They're going to like action. You know who brings action? John Garza. John Garza just walks you down and throws. So, yeah, if he's got the crowd behind him, if people are booing Farid Basharat, because he's he's not even Afghanistani anymore. He's repping the UK now for some reason. But regardless, if they're USA, John Garza's from Texas. He's biting down on his mouthpiece and going. The visuals of you moving laterally, because Basharat's got good footwork, but he evades. Like the best thing about Basharat is like striking defense. It's hard to find him. It's hard to hit him. It's hard to hit him with anything meaningful. And then as you're trying to pursue the guy, he takes you down. So I feel like Garza can get fan support. Garza will be the one coming forward. Garza will be the one landing theoretically the more flashier shots. And that maybe that vibe, maybe that momentum, maybe that carries them to winning a close split decision. Maybe. But for me, it's like Farid again. He understands if he's down and around. He understands to do just a little bit too much. Where you said maybe Farid's good enough. If he is a good wrestler, he'd be able to easily take down John Garza. I think he is a good wrestler. The 2 takedowns on Matsumoto, 2 on Chris Gutierrez, the 4 on Victor Hugo, none of that matters. It's the Taylor Lapilus fight. 5 takedowns on Lapilus. Yeah. And when he couldn't get the takedown, smothered him up against the cage. Never gave the guy a second to operate. No space to operate. Just a smothering performance. The UFC gets in his ear and says, buddy, no more. 5 decisions in 6 fights. We cut your brother. You're going to get cut too unless you put on an entertaining fight. Then John Garza's live. If nobody talks to him, he does the same thing he always does. He's going to be racking up takedowns and making it hell for John Garza. The last thing I will say is Garza's 23 years old.
I think he's going to be good. It's just too much too soon. It's very likely a too much too soon type of situation, but I'm only human. And Hunter Campbell, if you're listening,
get in his ear.
get in Farid's ear. Just whisper.
Nobody wants to see this shit. Tell him that.
Do you want a bonus on this card? Then you better not wrestle.
They cut his brother. His brother won his fight, and they cut him. Yeah, dude, he barely beat Johnny Vasquez. Woof. But all the same, the precedent has been set. You better start entertaining people. This is a Conor McGregor card. You're 15-0. 15-0. And you're one of the few more than 10, north of 10 wins, undefeated fighters left on the roster. We lost Apuria this year. We lost Hamzat this year. You're still on those lists. Top undefeated fighters in the UFC is you, baby. And you're the 3rd fight on a 14-fight card. I think the memo has been sent. You need to do something. But this is why I still am going with Basharat. Just 2 years ago, John Garza got knocked out by Gilberto Molara. It's just 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And the guy's 1-1. TK, fair. But then that last fight of his against Josh Walker, he drops Josh Walker. Walker gets up and just puts a little right hand down the middle, zaps his head right back. He hits the deck. I'm not sold on his wrestling defense. I'm not sold on his durability. And there's one thing that I do know for certain is outside of Josh, man, these Luis Garules, these Michael Aswells, these guys all look really good in Fury, and they do not jump over. So will he jump over? Yeah, I do.
Ewing was Fury though, wasn't he?
He's from California, but he's one of Josh Barnett's guys. But what was he? Possibly Ethan Ewing, definitely a California guy. No, he was an A1 Combat, LFA, LXF, all the.
I mean, people don't really come over from A1 Combat either and do all that well.
Well, side Nick Max.
And credit where credit's due. I mean, the sport's crazy. It's just like Roberto Hernandez knocked out Ethan Ewing in 2022.
Roberto Hernandez was good for a while, though. He was okay.
And then all of a sudden, now this guy looks like an absolute world beater. So sports crazy. Young guys just improve at a crazy pace. I think
it is, but that's why it's the whole. He's had 7 pro fights, and he's fighting a guy that's 6-0 in the UFC. Right?
Oh, I agree.
15 pro fights, but this one obviously means nothing. He's 23 and he doesn't look big for the weight class. But Texas doesn't have a 1 pound allowance rule. They give you like a 2.2 pound allowance. So if you look back on a lot of his fights, him versus Nicholas Galea, he came in at 136.2. Him versus Armando Zuniga, he was 137.4. Him versus Marcelo Reyes, he was 137.4. His last fight with Josh Walker, he's 136 on the dot. So now you're supposed to fight German Ponce. They scrap the German Ponce fight and they say, you know what? You'll just fight Abdul Kamara for the title in August. Then they call you and say short notice opportunity. So you cut the weight to fight German. Then you thought you were fighting in August. Now you're fighting this weekend on a huge pay-per-view, making your UFC debut. The weight cut, the nerves, the arena, the noise, all of that's going to play out. But these boys from Texas are willing to throw. And I'm sure he's willing to throw too. It's too much is going against him. Now, how do I improve the minus 650? Certainly by taking Basharat by decision. But therein lies the problem that John Garza, we've talked about a few of the guys on this card, he hits. Maybe he can't get hit too much either. Maybe, I don't want to say he's a glass cannon. I like the kid too. And he's only 23. I'm sure he's fine. But could Farid knock him down? Yeah. Could Farid jump on something and submit him? Yeah. But it's also Farid, so decision seems like the most logical choice. But if the UFC says, hey, man, you need to finish, start doing something, and you're probably going to start doing something out of character. And either that leads to you getting a finish win and kill my decision ticket, or it leads to that guy getting a win, which also kills my decision ticket. So, again, I got to figure it out. Farid's the play for me. Just at minus 650, what am I going to do? Put him on my top line? No, I'm not going to be doing that.
It's okay. It's early enough on the card, Cody. If Mowgli crushes your hopes and dreams, you can just rebuild.
Rebuild. And there's 14 fights. You got 11 more to work with. But I never go into anything looking to rebuild. I hate chasing. I don't advise people chase or rebuild. I like to chase and rebuild if need be early on a card.
Man, the early part of this card.
You're not wrong. Get me out of the way right off the bat because I don't want to be losing. One of these fights that mean more to me later on, whether it be a Cory Sandhagen or a Lonier Kavanagh or a Paddy Pimblett. Like at that point, you've only got a few fights to rebuild, and then you get yourself in trouble because you put too much down to get back the return. I don't need to explain it to anybody. You get it. You get the game. But yeah, pre-fight flop, Basharat, too much going his way to look away from.
Well, you could end up in a situation where you got rebuild, because we got Ryan Gandra taking on Zach Reese in a fight that just screams
rebuild.
It just screams rebuild. Gandra could go out there and absolutely flatline him because that's what Gandra does. But we've seen he's got some bad tape on his record as well. Zach Reese, not a guy that I'm overly impressed with, but he's pretty tough and has some decent submission ability. I mean, it's minus 126 plus 106 for a reason. I think both of these guys pretty untrustworthy. The under is gassed minus 175 to under 1.5. So the books are expecting violence, and you got two guys that are probably going to deliver it. Do you have a hot take on this one? Because I'm kind of scared.
Yeah, not really. I do have Gandra. I have Gandra, and I think that this fight doesn't go to decision. I think under 2.5. I think someone's getting blasted. But with Gandra, yeah, he's 31 years old, so I don't really think he's making a ton of improvements at this stage. Maybe marginal improvements, but who he is who he is. And as Paul mentioned, when you watch some of these fights on the regional scene, probably most notably, he fights Vladimir Calvo. Like, this guy doesn't look all that good. Then he takes like a year off. Then he comes back on the Contender Series and like, he's jacked up. He's jacked up. Looked like he took his strength and conditioning quite seriously. Very muscled guy. And then he gets an easy win over Trent Miller, who probably shouldn't have been in there in the first place. And then he follows that up beating Jose Medina, who is just a punching bag. But, important to note, Jose Medina went 0-4 in the UFC. And 3 of those guys finished him in the first round, including Ryan Gondra. Zach Reese went to decision with him.
Yeah.
Like, if we're talking levels, I think Gondra hits sufficiently hard. And being that he possibly is on some extracurriculars, he can continue that for a round and a half, a couple rounds. Like, you're in a lot of trouble. Reese is an offensive dynamo. He's 6'4". He's a big guy. He looks good in the training room, but I think he's got some serious durability issues. When you fight Cody Brundage, attacks the triangle, he gets power bombed. Listen, it's a power bomb. Power bomb's probably going to KO most people, but he holds on to it, and he's all the way out. That one's not concerning. It's a power bomb, but he held on to it. The Azmat Bakoev fight, Bakoev just takes him down. This guy's throwing up rinky-dink submissions off his back, and Bakoev just punches him straight. He's in guard. He's not passed. He didn't crucify you. He didn't mount you. It's not half guard. He's in guard. He just punches him straight in the face, and then Reese is all the way out. It's like, ooh, I'm not so sure this guy can take a punch. Did I mention he went to decision versus Jose Medina? Here's one more concerning. He went to decision with Dusko Todorovic. So, like, I'm not really seeing it. Him at his best, he catch you with an uppercut up the middle. He grabs onto submission. But like, him at his worst, he's got no cardio. He's got no jab for a big guy. Does not move his feet. He seemingly is always tired. He's always sucking wind. He gets hurt really easily. And all of those things were on display in his last fight against Michel Pereira, where he got hurt, he got tired, he's staring like a deer in the headlights. People thought he still won. I didn't. I thought Pereira won, but it's just a gross fight. Very, very sloppy stuff. If you want to get sloppy with Gandra, he's just going to stiff you, man. He's got a lot of legitimate power. He hits hard. If you want to, drag him out and get into a real big firefight, Gandra's carrying a lot of muscle, and he's not fought a whole lot outside the first. So he probably will tire. But Zach Reese is a real big guy cutting a bunch of weight who also tends to tire. And if you give me 2 guys that are tired and sloppy, Gandra's got the type of style where you would favor him because he'll throw hooks from the hip side, he'll move forward, and that power is the last thing to go. So once both of you guys have lost your speed and you're not throwing combinations, it's just shot for shot. Gandra backing up the tall guy. Reese has got a Muay Thai tattoo on his back. I don't see it. Only thing I see from him from Muay Thai is he puts his head weight up in the air. Stands straight, head up in the air, leads with naked kicks. Okay, well, Gandra's either going to come over the top and counter you, or this thing's going to divulge into a straight-up slop fest. And then at that point, I think Gandra probably catches him as well. So this thing opened, a soft opener. We talk about it every show, but this thing opened. Zach Reese is like a 3-1 favorite. Now Gandra is the favorite. Like, people saw the opener and were like, that's a joke. Yeah. Gandra should win. It's the now
open price on any of this stuff is so irrelevant.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's why I'm not putting any stock into it. I just mean I think that the public money is right, that Gandra is probably the slight favorite, wins this fight more often than not. And with Reese, I just want to say, Reese used to be my boy. He's tall, he's long. Remember that fight with Eli Aronov on the Contender Series? It's the armbar. Your Aronov's a big old juiced up guy too. He's an excellent hammer. And it's like, man, this guy Reese, he's got long legs, good submission game. His wins on was fighting for Peak Fighting, Fury FC a little bit. First round knockout, first round submission, 33 seconds in against a UFC vet, Aaron Phillips. Beat Tommy Brighton, 52 seconds. Beat Eli Aronov in the Contender Series, a minute 14. He was just smoking people. Really active guard, long legs, and they say his Muay Thai is good. But now we've seen a real pint-sized portion of him, or not a pint size. We've seen a full portion. He's had 8 fights in the UFC. And I'm not impressed with what I've seen. I think he's a defensive liability. I think his submission game off his back is not effective in 2026. I think his cardio is deep. He does train in Las Vegas. He does get world-class rounds with guys. But yeah, he's a big body. He's a big body that's good to train with. Once the heat starts to get turned on him, the guy melts like chocolate. So I'm not in it. I would say at some point, Canada's going to find the target on him and take Zach Reese out. Speaking of chocolate, Reese's peanut butter cup.
That's what I was gonna say. You're saying that Gandra leaves Reese in pieces,
melted in a poodle. Yeah. I think he's gonna touch him, and at that point, it's gonna be like, oh no, I need to shoot a takedown. And when you shoot a takedown, especially in the first round and a half, where this guy's hulking, you're gonna run into a fire hydrant, and then he's gonna start smashing with elbows all upside the head, and then at that point, it's done. So under 2.5. I'm not an under 1.5 guy. I'm really
who's offering that.
Probably nobody. Yeah. Fight doesn't go the distance, but I'm too much of a coward to hit a lot of these under 1.5. You know that. I took over 1.5.
The book that you play mostly at has horrible prices on all of those, so you shouldn't play them there. To be perfect.
Yeah, well, again, you'd have to have right.
I have a plus 224 available to me right now on Gandra round 1. Like, I'll play that. The other place that you play at a lot of the times is plus 145. But like, you shouldn't play props there. 90% of the time, you shouldn't play props there. I'm not going to say their name, but you know if you know how to shop.
Yes, of course.
You know who they are. But yeah, I mean, they just don't want people's prop action. So it's just like, yeah, a lot of those prices are terrible. I mean, something like a Gandra round 1 plus over plus 200. It's like, okay, I can see how that gets me invested in that fight, because I don't disagree with much that you said there. All right, finally, we got Cody Durden taking on Alessandro Costa. Costa minus 235 favorite to come back on Durden plus 200. I mean, Durden has great first rounds. Probably going to go out there, probably going to get some takedowns, probably going to flip this fight to a pick'em by the end of round 1. What happens after that is your best guess. I mean, any one of his fights, unless you're going to bet Cody Durden, it's really hard to click his opponent pre-flop or get heavily invested in his opponent pre-flop, because Durden comes out so hot. He's got great wrestling. He's got great skills all the way around, and he certainly can win this fight. But I'm probably more of the mindset of let's get on Costa after round 1 in the live betting markets. For the purposes of the show, I will pick Alessandro Costa to wear him down as the fight goes on, but Durden probably gets takedowns and probably has some success early in this fight. Where are you at?
Well, it's a Cody Durden fight, man. So yeah, where you at? This guy hangs with the best guys in the world, and he takes a lot of short notice fights and sometimes fatigues against guys that aren't the best guys in the world. But he's a dog. He always brings it. He's going to fight for your dollar if you are backing him. He thrives as an underdog. He just cashed as a big underdog last time out against Jafel Filo. It all sounds good, but I feel like Alessandro Costa stuffs the takedowns and bigger power standing, slightly better striker. I'll tell you what I really don't love about it, though. One, it's a short notice matchup both ways. Like, Durden was jumping on short notice to begin with. And then now he's lured Ode Osborne out. Ode Osborne gets hurt. Alessandro Costa is now replacing him. So Costa's really short notice. Costa's cardio is not that good. You've seen him gas a few times. His fight with Alden Correa, he got wiped up. He basically froze the whole time, stared at him. His fight with Steve Erceg, he mostly stared at him. Erceg took him down. Amir Albazi took him down. Alden Correa took him down twice on 2 shots. Like, Durden might be able to take him down. Former Georgia State wrestling champion. At this point, he's a 15-fight UFC vet and 25-fight MMA vet. Like, he might be able to take him down. And even if he doesn't take him down, Durden fights in your face, and it kind of comes at you, and he's got a little bit of volume till he fades. Whereas Costa really doesn't. He kind of sits and waits for his openings. As a result, the Stuart Nickel fight, if you're interested in obviously watching fights back, like, he looks like shit in the first round against Stuart Nickel. He lost. He lost the first round to Stuart Nickel on volume. He's just staring at him. And then the second round, Stuart Nickel fades away, and then he starts to take over, and he eventually knocks him out. if Durden's in shape, and like if you watch Durden on socials, he's itching to fight. He's in camp all the time. He's just one of these Neil Magny's or Donald Cerrone's or Kevin Holland's that just wants to fight all the time. And Neil Magny, Donald Cerrone, and Kevin Holland never really had cardio issues. It's really active. They fight all the time. Durden knows what to do. And so, yeah, he's had durability issues in the past, but he just went 15 minutes with Jafel Filo. If he's in shape, he can push a pace. It's a flyweight fight. Costa's on super short notice. Costa lost a round to Stuart Nickel. What if you lost 2 rounds to Stuart Nickel? Oh, well, he finished him in the third. What if you lost 2 rounds to Cody Durden and you don't finish him in the third? Like, this is actually the kind of flyweight fight that's going to be real close. And so Costa, if you look back a few years, yeah, man, this guy's looking good. But realistically, outside of the Kevin Borjas fight, he didn't look good against Steve Ursig. Alden Corey is actually really good, but he blew it as a big favorite against Corey. Stuart Nickel took a round off him. And then what? His last fight's Matt Schnell? Is that enough to make you a big favorite over Cody Durden? Cody Durden's fighting really good guys all the time, man.
A fight in Matt Schnell that everyone saw the writing on the wall, that it's just like, yeah, this has knockout written all over it.
Didn't make much sense at all.
I see where you come from, and like Costa's lost in round 3 against Amir Albazi in that fight. These are maybe fights that I should go back and look at. Alden Correa is very, very talented, as you said, but again, he lost in round 3, so it's just like been finished in round 3 twice. If he's going up against a guy that may be gassed, well, maybe he's gassing and slowing down. Carries a lot of muscle into the cage, so I pick up what you're putting down. Yeah. I mean, it's a fight that I'm probably going to enter from the live markets, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, that's a good way of looking at it too. Get a little more information and figure it out. But Durden's like, when he fought Josh Vance, like, he didn't look bad, especially in the first round. He got a couple takedowns. And then Jose Ochoa, it's like, he was actually looking real good in the first round. Got zapped right at the end of the first round and then knocked down the second. Alan Nascimento, he was actually looking really good in that fight until Nascimento caught him and choked him out. Like, if he gets a hot start against Costa and Costa starts to fade a bit, I don't got to explain it to you, Paul. It's a flyweight fight. It's a flyweight fight. And so when you're hanging a +200 or better price tag on Cody Durden, who thrives as an underdog and fights for your dollar and wants to be on this card. And you ever seen Cody Durden's wife, dude? Like, a mega big fat fakies on her. It's like, this guy's doing real good for a dude who's 6-7 in the UFC because he shows up and he fights his heart out.
Yeah.
And that is sometimes all it takes.
That's why he's on this Costa, card, to be honest.
Yeah, Costa's been dogged many times.
He said yes.
Cody Durden's the kind of guy that might go out and dog you. So, God, I came into this. I came into this thinking slightly in Costa, don't put it too high despite the odds. But I've actually talked myself into. Have you seen those fakies on his wife, man? No, God damn. I think I'm taking Cody Durden. He is a winner at life and hopefully a winner in the cage come Saturday.
There you go. All right, we're just about out of time. But before we go, hit him with the PRP.
Yeah, we are going with Max Holloway. No surprise there. Max Holloway, Paddy Pimblett's technically dog number 1. Cory Sandhagen, Lonier Kavanagh, Bobby Green, technically dog number 2. Robert Whittaker, he might be dog number 3 come fight time. I see the lines moving heavily enough. Gable Steveson, Adrian Yanez, Luke Riley, Tracy Cortez, Cesar Almeida. He's actually a dog, but for the purposes of the show, he's actually dog number 3. Fareed Basharat, Ryan Gandra. Cody Durden. Give me a 4th dog. 14 fights, gonna be 4 dogs. Cody Durden. And of course, Paul, the best part. If he loses, I can rebuild. What's up? I can rebuild. Kidding.
Durden into Gandra, into maybe even Basharat cards. There is 3 rebuilds before you even have to start taking cards seriously.
And if we can start at 3-0, then there's only 11 left. And if you can get those 11 after that, then you can get all 14. And if you get all 14, then my wife will have a nice set of fakies too, Paul Shaughnessy. So, I'm joking around.
It's going to be hard to hit a 14-fight PRP on this card.
Yeah,
I don't know if anybody. Yeah. There's a reason not many other people out there are trying to post these types of things because it's very difficult. These are the highest level of athletes. And, outside of Elijah Ellison,
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
think
there's
you can
only
make
13 fights on this card. That one's I've already won that one. Go check your parlays. It already says win. So
Yeah.
there's 13 other ones we got to get after that.
outside of Elisha Ellison, I mean, let's face it, you can make a case. You can make a case at the very least for everybody else. I mean, minus 10,000 I've seen at one place, which is, it's got to be a record. It's got to be a UFC record. Gable Steveson. I mean, you just have to approach that one from the props. Round one, I mean, those props are going to get absolutely nuked. And then if you're betting on Saturday and like Gable Steveson round one is minus 800, it's just like, you can probably just pass. You don't have to chase the dragon all that much. If you want a little bit on it, always gamble responsibly. But like, yeah, these props are going to get completely out of hand on that fight because there's no other way. Like, you can't really play the money line for any sort of crazy profit. Anyway, great card. We're talking about before we got on the air that it's like, from my gambling perspective, give me UFC Baku all day, every single day, because it's just so, when we're hardcores, right? It's just like, this is a card that everyone's looking at. The margins are tighter. The matchups are more consistent. You can get a little bit more sneaky and find value on certain things like a UFC Baku card. When the World Cup just started, nobody on earth that isn't a complete MMA gambling nerd isn't paying attention to. Everyone's paying attention to this. Can't wait to watch it. It's great. It's good to have Conor McGregor back in our lives. That is it for us this week. Hope you enjoyed the show. For Cody, I'm Paul, saying goodbye and good luck.